Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. We have with us in the room our returning guest, none other than boxing guru, Uncle James Ali Bashir. Uncle, how are we doing?
Everything is good. Everything is good. I'm doing good. It's cold, a little cold here in East Coast of America, but everything is good.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you saw early on, I was talking with Gail Falkenthal, the boxing journalist and PR.
Yeah, I would like to have spoken with Gail. I would like to have been there with you guys.
We'll have to make it happen next time, Uncle. We'll have to make it happen.
Okay, let's try to make it happen the next time.
Okay, so how you been otherwise, though?
I've been good, you know. Everything is everything. Moving right along.
Okay, so let's get straight into things. I didn't see the Anthony Yarde interview. Did you get to see Anthony Yarde interview?
Yes, I observed what was being said between him and the speaker. I don't know the young man that he was talking with, but I observed everything.
What were your thoughts?
I think that interviewer asked some valid questions of Anthony Yarde, and I think Anthony Yarde answered most of the questions in a comparable way, you know. Yeah, he had some soul searching to do. You know, like he said, he went through a lot of things this year. You know, he had some setbacks in his family, some deaths, you know, and it's always traumatic when you're dealing with death. So a lot of things that go on behind the scene in a boxer's life, the public aren't privy to.
Yes.
And they tend to forget that boxers are human beings like everybody else, and they still go through the strife and struggles of being just balanced in life, you know. So he said he was going through a lot of things, and he thought that he won the fight with Lloyd.
Arthur.
Arthur. He thought he won the fight, you know. I didn't think he won the fight.
I didn't either. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I love Anthony Yarde, but sorry, bro.
But
not win that fight.
You know, it's just boxing is as mental as much as mental. I think it's more mental than it is physical.
I think it's more the case also with him that he thought maybe Arthur was beneath him. He didn't think Arthur was, you know, when you get beat by a guy and you say, okay, this guy's probably better than me, like Kovalev, and he's done more than me, I'll accept that. But when you're in a position where you feel you're the A side, when you fight a guy like Arthur, and Arthur ends up beating you with a jab, he beats you with a jab, yeah? To come to that point, he's taking your titles from you. He's beating you in your home, almost your home ground, your hometown. I mean, it's hard to admit that you got beat in such a fashion by a guy that you thought that you were going to walk through.
Again, I think that's an observation that his corner should have made the adjustments in. You know, I think that it's the right thing to do to step in the middle of a fight and say, okay, we've got to redirect you. All right, plan B, plan A didn't work. We have to go to plan B. We have to make adjustments here because you're behind the first 2-3 rounds. In a 10-round fight, that's a lot of rounds. You know, sort of like the Sugar Ray Leonard Marvin Hagler fight was. You know, Marvin went behind, in my opinion, the first 3, maybe the first 4 rounds. That's a lot of rounds to give away in a 12-round fight. So I think that it was the corner's position to say, wait a minute, we've got to do something different here because we're behind these rounds. We need to get busy here. We need to step in and start jabbing with him. You know, do anything to offset
what Arthur was doing.
What Arthur was doing.
But it seems...
But certainly not ducking and dodging, bobbing and weaving. and making faces and, you know, lines in the camp and all that's cool, but you got to put punches with it, you know, and he didn't do that.
It seems a common thread in boxing where they say we've got plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. When the fight happens and you're seeing a guy getting clearly out jabbed, where's the plan B? That's where you want to see plan B, plan C, and plan D. We never see those things implemented. We see the guy getting jabbed, his head jabbed off. Next round, come out, same thing, head jabbed off. Next round, come out, head jabbed off. So 3 rounds of your head getting jabbed off. There was no game plan say, look, move your head or double up with a jab or slip the jab and come back across to the right hand or slip out the way, throw a left. Do something. Pick up your feet quick, get to him quicker, pick your pace up, feint more. Do something at least to create an opportunity for you to land your shots.
Well, you know, like I say, you know, that's why I don't say too much on your program because I don't want
to coach, train.
I just don't want to do
well,
that.
Uncle, let me say to you.
Because you know what? The reason why is because there's so many smart guys, so many guys that play like they're smart and they're not smart.
Uncle,
they're just too proud to say.
Check this out. If people have to come to, if trainers have to come to BWTM Sports, yeah, to listen to you talk and get ideas from you, they're not trainers. I'm sorry, they're not trainers. If they have to come here to listen in, they're not trainers.
Well, there are going to be a lot of trainers or would-be trainers that will come to this program because I'm here, because I got a vacuum of wisdom, and most people won't honor that fact. Pride. Even in the Bible, it says pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before the fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so pride is a vicious drug. It's a vicious drug, and it has caused people to even murder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so pride is a big thing in boxing as in other parts of life. These people won't come and say, hey, could you teach me something about boxing? No, they'd rather slink in the background and take off bits and portions, but they won't ask. They won't request. As a young man, I always ask questions. I'd go to the masters and ask them, why did you do that? Why did you tell the fighter to do this? I would take mental note and I would find them in a private place later on, and I would, in a casual way and a respectful way, I would say, why did you tell them to do that there at that point in the fight? Because it really, curiosity was driving me nuts. So I'd ask them, you know, and most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, they would tell me, you know.
It's worrying because for me, I can't say I know Anthony Yarde inside out, but I do know him and Tunde have got a great relationship. For you to put out,
well, he said
changes,
manager,
his manager and his trainer. For you to put out changes are necessary, or there needs to be changes. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. That means things are not going to remain the same. They can't remain the same.
He said that, you know, changes must be made. Look, everybody has flaws. Every one of us. Nobody is perfect. But you got to take changes with a grain of sand, you know. Alexander Usyk said my services are no longer needed. Hey man, that's what you feel? Good. Time to step on. I moved on. So that happens in boxing. It happens more often now than ever before. Because going back to the boxers of old, that it didn't happen like that. It did not happen like that. They stayed with the trainers through thick and thin, you know, and they worked it out together, you know. But now it's commonplace to switch alliances, to switch with alliances all of the time. Something goes wrong, okay, it was the trainer's fault, it was this fault, it was that fault. Sort of like in Deontay Wilder's case, you know. I mean, I've heard so many different scenarios, you know, about what happened in the second fight with Tyson Fury. This, that, and this, you know, so I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe. But I do know that pride plays a big part in stunting someone's growth.
Accountability, Uncle. Accountability on the fighter's part. Now, Yarde was in the ring and he was getting his head jabbed off. It was his feet, it was his hands, not the trainer. Floyd Mayweather, when things are not going right for him, he's able to make the adjustments on the fly. Able to make that's the difference between a good fighter and a great fighter. Be able to make the adjustments necessary.
Floyd Mayweather made adjustments because he was deeply into what he was doing. I mean, this man is deep into boxing. That's why he's damn near billionaire. But one thing I noticed about him, he was deep into what he was doing. And I mean, he would work. This guy was a workaholic, you know?
But you know, the biggest thing about Floyd is probably one of the biggest liars in boxing. I don't watch boxing. I don't watch fighters. I don't study fighters. He probably studied them to the T and was him and his team were tactically great.
Well, listen to Floyd when he talks about the boxers of old. That tells you right there that he's done his homework.
Student, yeah.
He's talking about boxers from the 50s, 60s, 70s, far before he was born.
Yeah, but you've got to go back to know where you are now going forward. If you don't know your history, how you know your future? You've got to have an idea of where
Floyd Mayweather, and he, you know, it's one of the slogans he always said. He said, if you don't put 100% in, you're going to lose. That's what he said. If you don't put 100% into training, you're going to lose. In that training, there's a stair step that goes from the bottom to the top of the stairs. That means that you don't leave no stone unturned. Floyd Mayweather was a workaholic, and he made adjustments in the ring. You look at the Shane Mosley fight. He was hurt. He was hurt badly. I mean, badly. The Madonna fight, he got his teeth knocked out. You know, he made adjustments to get through those fights. He made adjustments. So he's been hurt. Somebody said that Floyd only got hurt twice in the ring. No.
He's been out several times. The Judah fight, he was hurting.
No.
The fight was hurting.
Hurt. You're not gonna be. He got hurt when he's in his boxing with Earl Spence. The man been hurt. I mean, to say that he's only been hurt twice, he's only been hit twice.
Nah.
No, how can you say that?
He fought. Connie was
said that to me recently, and I had a problem digesting that. This man has been in boxing for years. He's been hurt on numerous occasions, but he had that boxer's mindset, and he knows how to dig down.
Composure with him. Yes, great composure, Uncle.
Composure, and he knows how to retaliate. He knows how to come. He knows how to say, all right, you got me hurt, but let's see if you can take mine. So he's an artist. He's an artist, and he deserves respect at the highest level. Floyd Mayweather deserves the highest respect.
Those are the intangibles that are not talked about. Or when people look at Floyd's style and they look at the shoulder roll, that's what they focus on. But they're not thinking about the other things Floyd's done, the research, the time he spent in the gym, the composure that man has got when he gets hit with a shot, able to roll the shot.
That shoulder. A lot of times he got hit.
He did get hit.
He got hit. The guy took some shots. Sometimes, he took so many shots that his face was swollen, But he made adjustments and he got through the fight. He's a tough human being. He's not just a tough fighter. He's a tough human being.
Yeah.
But he comes from a fighting family, I mean, you got Jeff, you got Roger, and you got his father. So these guys, it's in their blood. It's in their family line. These guys are tough tough guys. All right? All of those guys are tough guys. And so he got his ways honestly. So he deserves respect.
I had Derek James on the show last week, and we talked about a number of things. One of the things I talked about is that I think that he should be Trainer of the Year in 2020. He's got 2 unified champions under his stable. He's brought Errol Spence back from that car accident. But yeah, it looks like Teofimo Lopez and his father are going to get Fighter and Trainer of the Year. Your thoughts?
I think that that's a valid argument. I think Derek James deserves respect, and he should get that because he brought Errol Spence back from the question mark column.
Yeah, he did. And what a way as well.
Huh?
And what a way to come back against Danny Garcia, who's no bum.
Yeah.
You can't say he's a cherry pick.
No, I mean, I think that's a valid argument that Derek James deserves that. You know, he deserves that, and he's not no idiot. You know, he's a cool, calm, collective young man, and he deserves some respect for that. It's hard to be composed as a Derek James is, or anybody at that level of boxing. You know, he's not no braggadocio, flamboyant guy. He's just a good old-fashioned workhorse, and he's getting results.
I often question what people are watching boxing because I look at some fights and think to myself, like somebody said that Callum Smith versus Canelo was a super fight. And I'm scratching my head going, what makes this a super fight? Smith is not the best super middleweight in the world.
Well, what did I tell you when the fight was made? You remember what I said about it? I said
his ribs.
I didn't have any enthusiasm about the fight because I knew what was going to happen. I didn't know, but I knew. You understand what I'm saying?
As soon as he got past the jab, you knew what was going to happen.
I didn't have no enthusiasm about watching the fight when the fight was made.
Let me give you it's difficult to do this one. Right. So Callum Smith, I think, could be a far better fighter. At his age, I still find it, with the amount of fights he's had, amateur and pro, I find it still alarming that as soon as his back touches the ropes, his arms go up and goes into a shell. Where once he goes into a shell, well, he's not going to find anything back.
Callum Smith?
Yeah, Callum Smith. I said that's all. He always does that.
He's got a lot of target.
That's what I'm saying. Something.
So I look at that as human nature. I knew when Canelo got close to him, I knew that was only because he's got a lot of body there, and you don't want Canelo Alvarez just running around your property, throwing those bombs.
Not like that. No, you don't.
So, he throws a lot of bombs, and you got a strong body. So yeah, it was
without getting too technical. When a fighter does that, is that a psychological thing for a fighter to just sit on the ropes and curl up into a ball, or is that more of a technical thing?
Instinct, human instinct.
See.
I don't care what you teach him. That's why I say, you can teach a guy what you want to do. You can do all the pity pass, flippy slap stuff with the mitts and this and that. But once that bell rings with those 10-ounce gloves on, it's a different ball game. When you got those bombs whizzing past your ears, going past your nose, ripping into your rib cages and stuff, you can teach a guy what you want to teach him on the floor. You can the ladder walk, walking back and forth, all of those things you want to teach him.
That doesn't get around that, though, does it?
It's human instinct that kicks in the ring. They do that. They do that in the ring. It's human instinct.
So, that's a basic. What I remember being taught, where if guy throws one to the one here, catch one here, and as you catch one, you can roll out with it. I mean, that's just something you're taught. You get caught with a body shot, you can roll out or hold them tight. This guy's just sitting on the ropes like this. Catch a shot, roll out. This is a guy who's won the Ring Magazine belt, considered one of the best fighters in the world today. And as soon as his back touches rope, he's doing that. I mean, that's a serious handicap, right? For a guy that's tall and long, he can be such a better fighter. Just do Klitschko. Tie him up when he's up close. I mean, just holding Canelo would have been nice. Push him off. Go back to work again. Just doing that alone makes Callum Smith a better fighter.
Instinct kicked in and he couldn't do it. That sometimes when you get in a bad spot, you get hit, you get hurt out there. A lot of times the young people don't come out of it. They get hurt, they get excited, and they never come back to square one. You know? And they're fighting the rest of the fight on nervousness and fear.
It's not a trainer's responsibility, because it's not a trainer responsibility. It says protect yourself at all times. Is that protecting yourself at all times? I think you get yourself more vulnerable by doing that, because you just tuck it up. You're not even. I mean, can a trainer train that out of you, or is that something that forever?
It boils down to the individual, the mindset. Really? The mindset. It boils down to the individual. The trainer can say what he wants to say. He's not taking those punches. But
can you not give scenarios where the fighter actually is on the ropes and a guy's literally attacking? You only got the defense and attack drills.
Instinctively, he's doing that there. You know, I know the general idea is to use your distance.
Yeah.
Callum Smith had a long reach.
Yeah.
He had great height. You know, he should have used foot movement, use the long reach when Canelo get inside, you know, tie him up, lean on him, rest on him. But his instinct said, man, I got to protect my ribs. This guy hitting so hard, he might break my ribs. And that's where the instinct stayed at. The instinct said, I got to protect my ribs. This guy's going to break my ribs. And once that thought is injected in the mind, it's hard to get over it. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get over it, you know?
What do you make of the stories of Canelo and him moving up in weight and down in weight and the potential question marks about PEDs and his head being bigger now and all sorts of stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I just missed the PEDs until he's caught doing it. When he's caught doing it, then I can speak about it. But
wasn't he caught before the tainted meat and banned for 6 months and then came back and fought?
Yeah. I'd say he got caught, but he said it was the meat. He said it was Burger King.
Wait, but hold on. Can you explain something to me? Povetkin gets caught 3 times. He's still fighting on pay-per-views. Luis Ortiz got caught. He got 2 world title shots.
The power of that being.
Wait, hold on. Right? Jarrell Miller got caught 3 times and he's banned from the sport. He's terrible. That's not making sense to me. Sounds like it's a balance issue.
They gave Jarrell Miller 2 years. They gave Jarrell Miller 2 years.
Yeah, but wait, Povetkin got caught 3 times. He didn't get 2 years. Canelo got caught. He had 6 months. Liam Cameron had cocaine in his system and Answer cocaine in his system. He's been banned for 4 years. Where's the balance?
No regulated rules. There should be one standard. You do it and you're out. That's it. You do it and you're out. That's it.
Okay. I want to go back to your one of your favorite topics, not your favorite topics, but one that we talk about a lot. And we had Gail Falkenthal early on tonight, as you know. We were talking about your former fighter. You trained OLEKSANDR Usyk. As you know, the Ukrainian press and the Russian press have been all over and they do respect a lot of what you say, Uncle. They respect what you say regarding Alexander Usyk as his former trainer and as a well-respected boxing trainer. One of the things Gail pointed out is that as a cruiserweight, Usyk was pretty special. His movement, his speed, his combination punching, his whole talent was something very special in the cruiserweight division. And of course, he became undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. As a heavyweight, he's been less impressive. And against the bigger guys, he can't see himself as a power puncher, more like he needs to get back to his boxing skills. What are your thoughts on the transition from cruiserweight to heavyweight, and your thoughts on, obviously, when you were with Usyk? I've got to go back to that again, and the lack of...
One of the things that I would bring to mind if I was training Alexander Usyk is, don't try to be a great big heavyweight. Be yourself. If you come in at 218, 217, 220, all right, so you're a little heavyweight. It's about boxing skills at the end of the day, not being in there to being a puncher like George Foreman or Sonny Liston or Deontay Wilder. It's about boxing skills. And coming in at 217, 218 would be better for Usyk as opposed to be coming in at 225 and 230. No. If you come in at 230, 235, with his stature, with his physical stature, you're making yourself where you're going to be laying on the ropes for these guys to lay on you, and that's when they're going to have the advantage, when they're able to lay on you. But I think that he should come in 215 to 220, somewhere in between there, and box. And I think that he would win these fights handily. That's what I would have him trying to. If I was still training him, that's what I would have him to do. You know,
however,
you can't train a fighter. You know, you can't train a fighter when you got 2 or 3 people in the fighter's ear. If I'm training him in the gym, and then he's spending the night with other people in the camp, and they're spending all night, all the way up until the next day that we go back to training, getting in their ear, getting in his ear, telling him what he needs to do, how he do. But and I'm saying, how can you possibly do it? You know, you can't do it when you got people in the fighter's ear, and mind you, all the people, all the people that's in his ear together, to all of them together, don't have 20 years in boxing. They don't have 20 years in boxing, but they're telling him what he needs to do, how he needs to do it. And most of the time, the fighters are listening. Not just Alexander Usyk, but all fighters. They listen to people outside of boxing who don't have no experience in the sport, either outside the ring or inside the ring. I've had experience with both of them. I've been there, man. I've been doing this here 51 years of my life. I stake my life on it. So if you embrace what I'm teaching you, if you embrace that there, then you can go forward. Your likelihood of getting to the top is more real as opposed to not being real.
Since you've been replaced, Egis Klimas and Alexander Usyk believe they didn't need your services anymore. When that usually happens in business, usually you're terminating someone's contract, you're terminating doing business with somebody because either you think yourself can do it better personally, or you've got somebody else who can do it better.
Well, a lot of times I've seen where the fighter thinks that they can do it better without my services, or the services of any trainer that they might have excluded, or they don't want to pay for that particular trainer, or that they, you know, it could be a host of reasons.
Well, let's go for 2 reasons. Let's say, for argument's sake, they didn't want to pay you as a trainer. So what do you bring to the table in terms of pay? And I don't want you, it's not for you to prove a point. It's more the case of just logically payment. So as a trainer, what do you bring to the table for us to bring this put this on the table actually as a debate or discussion? What do you bring to the table as a trainer that they possibly can say, "Now we don't need these services. We're going to go elsewhere." So put on the table what you bring to the table, Uncle.
Well, I bring to insight. Insight, number one. Number two, I brought him to the championship of the world with only 10 fighters. With 10 fights, I brought him to the championship of the world. And in my mind, I don't know whether Usyk believed it. I think he believed it, but I don't know if he believed it, that he thought he could do that in 10 fights. But from day one, when I saw the skills of the guy, I said, you know what? We can cut off a little slack here. We can do this. We can do that. We can do this. We can do that. And we can take this title in 8, 9 fights. And the people that were there present when I said that had a look in their eyes and sort of like they were saying that I was crazy. But my thinking was at that time when I saw his ability in sparring in Ukraine. Once I had been given the job, I said that this guy is good enough to win the world championship because I had him doing 15 rounds, 12 rounds, 10 rounds, and they were looking at the corner of their eyes at me saying that why would I have him doing that then? Because I wanted to test and see what I had. And I saw his ability, and I said we can win this title in 8, we can win the world championship in 8, maybe 10 fights. And Usyk even looked at me. But as we went on, we took on some good opponents starting out. And as we went on, he started feeling like, yeah, maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it, But I gave him the insight, and he went out there, and we went to another country, and we did it. We took the title in the champions' backyard. And you saw that there because he built a legacy on that there because he kept doing that. He went to Russia. He beat Breeders in where? In his country. He went to Russia, Poland. I forget where Breeders is from, but he went
Austria,
to Germany.
maybe? Is he Austria?
He went to Germany. So he was winning titles in other ways. And that's why I say, like Anthony Yarde said earlier that I didn't want to go to Russia, because I felt that I'm going to have to knock the guy out. No, all you have to do to go to Russia is box. Box, 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 box. If you get a knockout, that's a plus. But all you got to do is box, win those rounds. But when you go into a country thinking that I've got to knock this guy out to win because I'm in his home country, no, you don't. All you got to do is go out there and box. Box, outpoint the guy. You understand? Bust him up, move around the ring, and use your boxing skills. That's what Usyk did. He knocked out Marco Huck in Germany. He decisioned Glowacki in Poland. He beat the other young man in Russia. And he beat Breeders by decision. So he won decisions in the country. So I mean, it's all about what you're thinking about mentally.
So we're putting those things. So you're bringing in insight, experience, know-how.
Experience is the big thing. Experience, application, knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. That's the big thing in boxing now. Knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them.
So we put that there. So you'll say experience is what you. So they didn't want to pay for your experience. All right. So let's say they didn't want to pay for your experience. So what do they get in return? So what have they got now in the camp? A youngster who lacks experience that you have?
I don't think he's a youngster.
Okay, who is it then?
That's what I'm saying. Who is he? But nonetheless, It could be an older guy, it could be a younger guy. If you never had experience, if you never had the knowledge, then it doesn't make a difference. You got a young person that don't know, and you got an old person that don't know.
So you're alluding to the fact
the only difference between an old fool and a young fool is age.
So you're suggesting it could be Lomachenko's father that's training Usyk then?
No, I don't think it's Lomachenko's father. I don't think it's Lomachenko's father. You know, but I'm not. I might be old enough to be. I might be old enough to be Lomachenko's father. You know, so you know, I'm just saying I might. You know,
yeah,
I might be old enough to be his father. So it doesn't make a difference to me about age. It's what did you accomplish in that age? What did you accomplish?
So, okay. So if it's not because of, it's not money, they've got rid of you, so they didn't want to pay you. So what are the other reasons you think because what I'm trying to get to is the performances since you've left have not been impressive. They've been lackluster and workmanlike. The performance he put on against Glowacki, people were talking about and said the way he moved around the ring was like Muhammad Ali. I didn't make that up. That was stuff they said after the fight, after Usyk won the title. It's that footwork and that finesse of moving around the ring and all that sort of stuff, that movement and ring generalship, that's what Usyk's going to need now as a heavyweight. Would you not say?
You know, Vitaly Klitschko came into the locker room maybe an hour before we went on stage out in Poland. And mind you, Oleksandr Usyk was pretty cool. He was cool the whole week we were there in Poland. He was cool, calm. Wasn't nervous, wasn't jittery, affable, laughing, smooth, cool customer.
Hold on.
Confident.
Somebody's just tuned in here that I want to bring on the show. That could give us a deeper insight. Let me see if I can bring one on the show. Keep talking, Uncle. It's Eugene. Eugene, if you're available, would love to bring you on the show. You know Eugene, Uncle. Remember him?
I meet a lot of people every day, man, all over the world.
Eugene.
You tax my brain. When they ask me why I can't talk and walk, I say, but I was trying to remember somebody on English show, and now I can't remember my name.
I can't believe you can't. Keep talking anyway, Uncle. Keep going. Let me put the focus on you for a second.
You know, Vitaly Klitschko came into the locker room and he asked me what was going to be my strategy. We're in Poland, and likely they're going to try to take this here. And I told him what my strategy was, and we went out there and we worked the strategy. But before leaving the locker room, Vitaly Klitschko told me, he said, "Yeah, I like the plan. Let's see how we're gonna work it." And we went out there and we worked the plan to the teeth. I think that fight was 119, 111, 119, 111, 120, 109, or 110, something like that. But whatever it was he won most of the rounds. Usyk won most of the rounds and didn't get a scratch.
Okay. Let me bring this up here. Eugene says, "Oh, check this out. This is very interesting." Eugene, he gets his he's Ukrainian, but check this out. It goes. Eugene says, "Just finished watching an interview with Usyk's ex-dietitian. He says anyone who contradicts the narrative of Lomachenko Sr. and certain close circles got thrown overboard. I'll let you know soon." He then says his services were terminated by them just setting up a training camp without letting him know. And he wasn't the only one who was let go. His current trainer is apparently still going through college and carries a notepad by collecting knowledge. The team is very green, according to him. Ouch. That's not very good, Uncle. Did you hear that?
Yeah, you know, it's typical. You know, these guys, they have a lot of amateur experience, and they figure when they become pros that I don't have to pay that money for any particular trainer. I'll bring in who I want to bring in. I have my own mindset. I'm the one that's in there, and I'll do the leading in the camp.
You know what?
That's not foreign to me. I've seen that many, many times.
You know what? I'm gonna say that if this nonsense is continuing, Usyk, we are possibly going to lose a potentially great heavyweight to mediocrity and getting knocked out in a fight that he could have been winning had he brought in the right trainer and done the right things.
Well, some fighters can get away with different things because they don't have in the opposing corner, they don't have the strategy to beat them.
Listen, Lennox Lewis, we learn from history, right, Uncle? Lennox Lewis had his amateur career, he had John Davenport, turned pro, and he went through his career. And I remember him with Pepe Correa. And I remember George Foreman saying after the Phil Jackson fight, he needs to get back to boxing, not trying to load with one big right hand. He needs to learn to box. He needs a proper trainer. His style looks bad. He looks all over the place. That was the fight before he got knocked out by Oliver McCall. And Foreman warned Lennox Lewis. And when Lennox Lewis got knocked out by McCall, he came out and said something like, throughout my career, my professional career, I relied heavily on my amateur experience to get me through those fights. And what I'm seeing with Usyk is that since he's left you, he's relying on what he learned in his amateur career, plus what you taught him in those 10 fights to stretch out in his career. And I think he's going backwards. And where he might have got away with it at cruiserweight, he's now fighting against bigger guys who might not be as skilled as him, but their physicality is a problem. And he can't just throw punches at them and keep them off him, because now they're walking through those punches and landing hurtful punches of their own. And he even admitted, I don't know if that's a good thing, he was out on his feet in the second round by Derek Chisora. He said he got hit with a shot and he didn't know what happened. The lights went out. And he admitted this against Derek Chisora. I mean, that doesn't bode well if you're going to fight guys like Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua.
He said he was out on his feet.
He was out on his feet.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't bode very well, does it?
I tell you, one punch. I've seen it. One punch. Evander Holyfield said that he got hit on the temple by George Foreman in the 5th round. And he said, I did not realize where I was until the 9th round. And the only reason that I knew that it was the 9th round because somebody in the corner asked somebody else, what round is it? And they said 9. And that's when I came back to my senses when they said that. So I inadvertently understood I was in the 9th round, but he hurt me in the 5th round. I knew it was the 5th round because they said, 5th round, let's go. And then when I came back, I was a blank. From 5 to 9, I was blank because George hit me that hard.
There was a story that said that Lennox Lewis, I call it Harold Shadow Knight, told me, and I wish I had the volume in that recording. He said Lennox Lewis was out on his feet on the 1st round against Shannon Briggs. Shannon hit him so hard in that 1st round that he was out on his feet in the corner.
Yeah, Shannon Briggs is a big puncher. Lennox Lewis is a big puncher, but Shannon Briggs is a big puncher. These are 2 big guys. These are 2 big guys. And I worked both of those camps. Even though I was a member of the Lennox Lewis camp, the guy that I brought into box Lennox, a big African guy. And he went there throwing bombs and stuff, and they put us out.
Samuel Peter?
Huh?
Samuel Peter?
Pardon me?
Samuel Peter, you're talking about, big African guy.
No. This guy was named Liadiel Hassan from Ghana. He was a big, strong, hard-hitting guy. And he went out there throwing bombs, and for what, I don't know. I just told him to just go out there and box and get a man some work, I mean, we're getting paid every week, living in the lap of luxury, so just take it easy. And people came back to my room and say, hey, man, you take this money and you get your man and get on the plane and get out of here. We don't need that. I said, well, he ain't going to do it no more. He said, no. You got to go. And we was gone. The first week we was there, we was gone. We put him out. Because they felt that my guy was going to injure the champ. He's going to, dislocate his shoulder, or do something else crazy. I told him, don't go out there doing that, throwing punches all crazy like that. And they dismissed us, you know. And after being back in New York for a week, I got a call from the Shannon Bridge camp to bring that same guy to his camp. And so we was back on. They both were trained in Florida, and we flew back, and we did the rest of the time. The next 3 weeks, we stayed in the Shannon Bridge camp. And Shannon came back and told me, he said, "Listen, I'm not going to be boxing this guy every day. I'm not going to box him every day. So, you know, just take it easy with that, because the guy he don't know how to spar. You know, I mean, this guy was 6'7", big, strong guy, throwing punches from everywhere." Shannon told me clearly, "I'm not going to be boxing him every day. That's not going to happen. I don't care who wants me to box. I'm not boxing him every day." So we did out the rest of the time in Shannon Bridge camp. But Shannon's a big, strong, heavy-handed guy. He punches with both hands. He can make the difference in the fight by landing one punch. If he lands that punch, he can make the difference. And Lennox Lewis is a big, strong guy too. He can make the difference with one punch.
Absolutely. So we were talking about Lewis and Usyk, and how Lewis admitted that it was his amateur skills that kept him up until he got knocked about Oliver McCall, and then a change needed to be made. For Alexander Usyk, you're saying that first of all he needs to lose the weight and come in lighter. When you had Usyk in camp, who was the heaviest guy you think you had Usyk sparring with?
All these guys were small heavyweights, 205, 210, and that was it.
So you never fighting any really big heavy sparring with any big heavyweights?
No, because you know, heavyweights wasn't in the picture at that time. You know, it was early on in his career, so we were just trying to get in there with guys who had good punching power, so we can make the adjustments inside the training camps. But we didn't put nobody in there 225 and up. We didn't do that. We didn't need that.
So you never got to see Usyk. But then Usyk fought Joyce as an amateur. But that's very different though, isn't it?
Well, yeah. In the World Series of boxing, fought some big guys, you know. But my objective then was to win the Cruiserweight Championship. So I wasn't thinking about the heavyweight, even though I had my eyes on the heavyweight division. Had I lasted, had I been the trainer, you know, had I been the trainer, look, even though these guys are big, strong guys, in my mind, when I'm watching Usyk fight, I'm saying what I would do, how I would have him fight. You know, and it would be a completely different Usyk.
So first of all, let's say, okay, you've got Usyk, he's entering the heavyweight division. What would you have done differently? That's quite a broad question. So
I would keep him between 215 and 220. I wouldn't care how big the fighters were.
Right.
I wouldn't care if they came in at 290, 240, 260, because I don't believe that's the essence of what the sport is all about. It's about boxing. So I would bring my guy in because he got the height. I think he's 6'4", 6'4 1/4 something. He's a tall kid. And I would have him boxing. Boxing would be the main source of the tools and the application out there in that ring.
You've got people out here who think that bigger means better. Oh, he's a big guy. He's a big guy.
I'm malarkey. I've been around boxing a long time, and I'm telling you, it's malarkey. It means something if they landing. But if they can't land, it don't mean nothing. If they can't land, it does not mean nothing. And let me tell you something. Being strong in round 1, round 2, round 3 doesn't mean that you're going to be strong in 9, 10, and 11. And that's when we go to work.
So Usyk trained by Uncle Bashir and current Usyk, where do they differ? The idea of you working with Usyk and
I would bring basically the same application to the dance. Boxing and speed. Boxing and speed. So you got to give up some things to get the others. I wouldn't have them out there trying to exchange punches with these big, strong guys. Because like he said, Derek Chisora numbed him or hurt him, you know. So I'm just thinking about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, you know, Anthony Joshua. You know, those guys landing punches on him. No, I don't want that. I want boxing. That's the kind of trainer that I am. I'm all for boxing. I make my investment in boxing skills, you know, and you get the big punch in there and box with off of boxing skills, then it's a different kind of punch. You can go out there and play the lottery, swing wild punches, swing wild punches. You saw it where it got Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora must have threw 100 wild punches. And the only thing that Derek that can really box, then you're going to have problems. You back?
We're back. We have a storm in the UK. I live right by the sea, so yeah, we've got a bit of a storm at the moment. So it's not good. We had Storm Bella, and it seems to be still a problem here. The remnants of it still seems to be a problem, but we're back.
The whole thing about this thing, boxing is boxing. You look at Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali made his bones off of boxing. Again, I allude to Wilfredo Benitez. He made his bones off of boxing. You know? So I'm saying they made their whole living off of being able to box. Punching is a beautiful thing if you do it in a way where you're going to land those punches. But Derek Chisora threw a lot of wild punches, and it robbed him of his energy.
Yes.
When you miss those punches, that's where it takes its toll on you. You know? I think that the most difficult fight that Usyk would have at heavyweight is Tyson Fury.
Really?
Yeah, because of his height.
I think Joe Joyce gives him just as many problems.
Huh?
Joe Joyce will give him a lot of problems. He's got a real good work rate.
Joe Joyce is Joe Joyce got good power, but he's a little stiff, a little predictable. Tyson Fury is a bit more unpredictable. Tyson Fury is moving here, moving there. You know, he's unpredictable. You know.
You have in the room John Barron. I'm sure you know who John Barron is, Uncle.
Yeah, I know who John is.
John says they got a different trainer to save 3%.
What did he say?
They got a different trainer to say 3%. He's talking about Usyk.
John is a comedian. John says they got a different trainer to say 3%. Yeah, because if they want something done, they've got to pay for it. You can't go to the big dance, you know, and with a Volkswagen trying to get the work of a Ferrari. No, you have to pay for it.
They think you could do that. I don't understand it.
Huh?
A sport where you could potentially, you're playing with your life, you will go cheap. That makes no sense to me.
That's common in boxing. That's common in boxing. A lot of people don't want to pay for it. You know, I'm every bit of the work that I put out, but I gotta get paid, man. I gotta be paid. You know, I'm flying all over the world.
Proof of what Bashir is saying is Canelo beating Smith so easily. Size does not matter. And then John says, "Amen, Bashir."
Yeah.
Okay, Uncle. Let's talk about this.
I mean, John is the kind of guy that, you know, when I get a stable where I can really, really teach boxing, I'd love for John to work with him because he's an outstanding. Now, if anything that conditioners can do, this is the kind of guy I would work with. You know why? Because I can communicate with him. A lot of conditioning coaches come into a camp and they try to take over. You're not the
trainer.
You're not the trainer. All right. I don't want somebody coming in assuming that this is right or that's right. No, you're supposed to check it. Everything that I did when I was working with different trainers over those years, I always checked it with them first. I'd go to Emmanuel's house. I go to wherever the phone. Emmanuel, what do you want me to do today? What do you need me to do today? And I checked it every single day. You got to have some respect about what you're doing. You know, you can't just go and implement your program because you don't know what the trainer's working on. So what you do is you coincide with the trainer, and then you can get things done with the boxer.
I want to talk, without going into too many personal figures, I want to talk about how much a trainer is worth. I think it's something that's overlooked a lot. How much as a world-class boxing trainer worth, in your opinion, in terms of payment? Okay, let's look at
I think 13%. I get 13%. They say, oh, but a trainer can only get 10%. I get 13%. That's the deal I made with Alexander Usyk. That's the deal I made with Blasarenko. All of the guys that come and train. I don't have no set figure with Vladimir Klitschko because Vladimir Klitschko always took care of me. And for that fact, he still takes care of me.
So 30% of nothing is
nothing.
That's good. That's good. That's it.
Let me tell you something. You go out there, you pay for cars. You don't question them about the car. How much you want for the car?
Yeah.
X amount of dollars. All right?
Yeah.
You go out there, you buy jewelry. How much you want for jewelry? You don't question it.
Yeah.
You go out there, you get women. How much you want for the woman? You don't question it. You pay. So why should the trainer be any different? And
hold on.
He's got your life. He's got your life in his hands. In that ring.
13% for a USBA champion is very different to 13% for the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. That's a big difference.
Huh?
13% for the USBA champion and 30% for the WBC heavyweight champion of the world is very different, right?
Yeah.
In terms of money coming back, right? So that's got to be key, because if the fighter can't afford to pay for the trainer, although he's a talented trainer, then what happens? How does that 13% work? Well, how does that 10% work?
Listen, I'm not a mathematician.
No, mine.
get 13%.
I just know 13%.
Work it out to your managers, man.
Or 13% for the heavyweight champion of the world, who's able to pay the 13%, or Alexander. My point is, Alexander Usyk can afford the 13%. Unified, undisputed heavyweight, cruiserweight champion of the world, fighting at heavyweight now, he can pay the 13%.
Listen,
there are guys. My point is,
I don't. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. When I come in, I get 13%. Especially when I gotta leave here to go to Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. People want you to come there and stay there 5, 6, 7 weeks. I got to change my whole situation to go to these places. So they got to be considerate of what they're asking. They got to be considerate of what they're asking from a person. I got to go there. I got to basically have my hands tied for this amount of time. My hands are tied. I can't do nothing else because I'm relegated to this one place. Yeah, you got to pay for that, man. You got to pay for that there. And if you don't pay for that there, then you won't get it.
Do you ask the question, which is exactly what Usyk is making if he keeps on? I have the way he has been. He will have 30% of nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Because if Derek Chisora numbed him, then what's going to happen when Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or one of those big punches hit him?
If we can see,
I can't guarantee that he's not going to get hit, but I can give him the remedy to avoid and most
neutralize.
I can give him the remedy. I can give him my concept of what he needs to do to avoid getting hit like that.
Okay. Then the two questions are: one, would you work with Alexander Usyk again? Because he needs rescue. He needs rescuing at this point for heavyweight legacy and for us being robbed of a very good fighter.
I don't know whether I would be good for Alexander Usyk at this point. I don't know that I'd be good for him.
Why?
Because he dismissed me that one time. I don't know whether we will be able to collaborate again. I don't know if things would ever be the same. We was good for 3 years. We was good, starting from the very beginning all the way up into the championship fight. Then after the championship fight, something changed. I don't know what to this day, but something changed. And I told you when I was in that training camp that something changed. I told you.
I told you it was coming. I told you it was coming.
Do what?
I told you it was coming.
The phone is making noise now.
Let me try this again. It might just be the audio. Let me fix this.
It's like a wire. Something is moving.
Let's try again. Can you hear me?
It's static in there.
Right, let me try this. Hold on a second.
There's some kind of static in there, like a wire is loose somewhere. Maybe it's from the storm.
Might be from your end, Uncle.
Oh, no, now it's clear. Now it's clear.
Let's try that.
Talk.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
Say something.
I'm coming. Give me a second. Where's Uncle gone? Uncle's disappeared on me. Uncle's gone. I don't know where Uncle's gone. He seems to have disappeared from me. Or are we just waiting for Uncle Bashir to come back? He's gone. The night of the storm. Hold on a second. Give me a second. We'll get Uncle Bashir back in the room. think his battery's gone dead. Yeah, that's a battery gone dead. So let's see. John, I don't think you want to jump in. Really getting interested in what Uncle was saying there. I think he's gone. Let's see what people are saying. Uncle might have gone. There's a difference between boxing trainers and boxing teachers. Bashir's boxing teacher. He absolutely is, without a shadow of a doubt. Let's read some of his comments anyway. I think Bashir is actually gone because I think his battery's gone dead. The way he cut up there, his battery's dead. When's the next fight? I'm not sure. They want yes men. That's certainly not Uncle. Nope, we're not going to get that with Uncle. Who does James think will win between Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields? That's going to be a good fight whenever it happens. Let's keep going through quickly. Wilder needs James Bashir in his corner. I was just about to go and ask him the question about Wilder. Savannah Marshall is a beast. I worked with her. Great work ethic and can punch like a mule. Yeah, she is. She's one talented girl. She is. I guess it's John Barron. Hardest punching woman I've seen. Future pound for pound #1 in women's boxing, I think, possibly. How can this situation with great boxing trainers, teachers be treated badly, be solved? I think contracts that happen in boxing, not contracts would be key. But for some reason, I don't know why boxing trainers don't get contracts. They're on this percentage thing on fight by fight basis. So I think there should be contracts put in place for boxers. I mean, John probably can give more information on that one. What's here? We'll see about Savannah because Shields' high work rate. She could wear Savannah down, but not likely if she comes in the shape she was in when she just won the WBO title. Okay. Sometimes it's the trainer's fault, like Adam Booth getting 30% from George Groves. Yeah, but I guess Booth and Groves worked well together. See here, there's a difference between boxing trainer and boxing teacher. Of course, there is. Still waiting for Uncle Bashir to come back in the room. He's in the room. Yes, Linda. I hope you're well. Let's see if we can get Bashir in the room. I'm sure his battery's gone though. Absolutely sure Uncle Bashir's battery's gone. His phone's ringing and ringing and ringing. No answer. So I think his battery's gone. This may have to be a part 2 show. Yep, definitely. This will have to be a part 2 show, people, because unfortunately, I think NBC PBC card Saturday night. No, can see it. Great show. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. You need to get you on the show with Uncle Bashir. I think that'd be great. All right. That's a shame. Thanks to Storm, Bella. And yeah, we will get Uncle Bashir on tomorrow night. We'll follow up with it. So it'll be a part 2. Just know Uncle back on show. Apologies for that all, but I will bring him back tomorrow night. If you haven't caught it already, please check out our interview with Derek James, the trainer of Unified Champion Jamal Charlo, and also with Errol Spence. He's got Errol Spence Jr. So Derek James talking about that, potential of a Pacquiao fight, potential of a Canelo fight. So Derek James, I think for about an hour we've got him on the show. So check that interview out. And thank you to those people around the world, those journalists, particularly in Ukraine and Russia. Thank you for Manila Times. First of all, Manila Times, thank you so much for picking up our piece with Derek James and our interview to Manila Times. Shout out to Manila Times. Shout out to UA Boxing News. So they, Ukrainian Boxing News, thank you to them and distributing it. Ring RU and a few other Russian and Ukrainian media outlets. Thank you for covering our Usyk interviews. And I interviewed Derek James. We really appreciate you so much. And writing it in English and then having it written in Ukrainian as well. That's fantastic. We really appreciate you. So much love to you all. Thank you for your support in 2020. And we also look forward to having you back on board in 2021. It's amazing to wake up in the morning and getting a Google text saying BWTM Sports. And then when you look on Google, you see Google News and you see our name being mentioned in various outlets across Russia and Ukraine. We really appreciate you. I want to say thank you so much for that. It's special. And, like I said before, feel free to use the interviews in your outlet. And one other person, another outlet we need to shout out to is Now Boxing. Shout out to Now Boxing as well for covering our Derek James interview. Thank you for all the journalists that have integrity in what they do by counting the source. There are many people across the YouTube universe and also across the mainstream media that are not prepared to give sources. They will not give the source and give us credit. Fair play. If they want to be that way, that's fine. But we love to give credit where credit is due. So thank you so much. It's not right when you copy and paste and you plagiarize and you take blatant quotes from interviews, and then you don't give credit for it. Here comes Uncle Bashir back, so there you go. It wasn't too bad, but he's not connected. I don't know what's going on with the microphone. So if Uncle Bashir gets back in the room, if he does come back in the room, John, if he does come back in the room, do you want to jump on? And if you do want to jump on, let me know. Then I can send you a link via email address or via email or something. Then we can get you on. Then you and Bashir can talk. But I don't know what's going on with Uncle at the moment. He's gone off. You think he's trying to get back on again? Yeah, call declined. Might be he came back on the show. I don't know. I think he might be trying to get back on, Uncle. Then he tried again. No, we've got him. Yeah, Uncle's back in the room. So, John, if you want to jump in now, we can get you on as well.
Hello.
Uncle, what happened? Your battery, tell me.
The battery.
See, I told you. I told everyone it's the battery.
Modern technology.
Yeah, I was just giving a shout out to the various media outlets that across Ukraine and Russia who have been covering our shows and covering interviews with you. So I was just saying, we're very grateful for them to cover you and cover the stuff that you say.
Yes, I appreciate them too. They're good people.
They are very good.
They're boxing people. That's what boxing needs. Boxing needs boxing people. The more the more input that we get from boxing, the more sound we are going to be as teachers. Because there are a lot of people in the sport now that don't know, like Roger Mayweather said, that don't know shit about boxing. You know? So Roger Mayweather was right. There's a lot of people in boxing that don't know shit about boxing.
They absolutely don't. So we'll still talk about Usyk and about you coming back and working with Usyk and why it wouldn't work, why you think it might not work.
I don't know that he's built like that there. You know, a lot of times people make decisions and they like to stand on those decisions. They're just too prideful to say, "Hey, look, I need you come work with me." You know. And I don't want to be. Sometimes I'd rather sit back and watch. It's hard for me. It's very difficult for me to go back to a situation that I was in. The last camp that I was in, I wasn't very happy.
What was that last camp like?
For me, it was hell.
Explain.
We made the first title defense against Tabistu Minchuno from South Africa. Okay. And that whole camp, I just got a vibe. The vibes weren't good. The vibes were not good. And I told you that. I remember calling you. I said, look, the vibes weren't good. I wasn't happy.
I remember calling me and telling me about that.
I wasn't happy. The vibes were bad. And I asked Usyk, I said, hey, man, is something wrong? He said, no. But you could say something, but the actions were far removed. I said, no. I made up my mind then, even if he had not dismissed my services, I was going to dismiss myself because I can't work like that. I cannot work like that there, you know. I asked him, I said, is there something wrong when I first came in the camp? And then one day, inside the training effort, I had to raise my voice to everybody that was in the room because people kept talking while I was trying to teach. I had to raise my voice. Everybody was there. Lomachenko's father was there. Egis Klimas was there, you know, and some other groupies was there. I call them groupies because they was around saying different things to Usyk while I was trying to teach. And none of them had, mind you, all the people in the room collectively didn't have 30 years of boxing. All of the people in the room collectively didn't have 30 years in boxing. So I raised my voice. I said, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to teach here, man. And everybody in the room got quiet and looked at me. Yeah. I said that to everybody in the room.
Yeah, but yeah, they were looking for an excuse for you to turn around and look like a crazy man and say, that's the reason we're firing him.
I got angry, man. I got angry because they was pissing me off. I got angry because they were pissing me off. They had no right to be talking. I was trying to tell Usyk to do this, to do that.
What were they doing in the gym in the first place?
Well, like I said, in my opinion, if you're not there for the obvious thing, which is sparring sessions, you got no business there. But they were in my mind, they were groupies. They were hangers-on. They had no business being there. They had no business doing the talking. Everybody was talking, and I didn't like it. So, there was a brother there from L.A., Shadid Saluki.
Yep.
Yeah, Shadid.
Worked with Audley Harrison.
Yeah, Shadid Saluki. He worked with a lot of fighters. You know, he worked with a lot of guys.
What happened to him? What's happened to brother?
I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with him. You can talk to Shadid. Shadid's a good guy, man.
What happened to him though? He's
still down in L.A. teaching fighters.
Okay.
He most recently had Iago Kaladis when he fought the guy that Ronnie Shields got, the big guy, Ronnie Shields got.
No,
the big African guy.
F.A. Jagba.
Yeah, and Kalades
dropped. Uncle, he's a waste of space.
Kalades dropped F.A. Jagba.
He's a waste of space, though.
Huh?
He's a waste of space, Jagba.
Yeah, well, Kalades almost had him.
I know, but that's the guy that George walked straight through him.
Huh?
George walked straight through him.
Who?
That same guy that dropped to Jagba, George walked straight through him and knocked him out.
Yeah, I know.
Joe
Joyce, don't mistake me. Joe Joyce is a big, strong, heavy-handed guy.
I told you about Joe Joyce,
and he undoubtedly he's going to get better.
He's getting better. Uncle Lev Gramerson, integral part of BWTM, asked the question: how can this situation with great boxing trainers, coaches being treated badly be solved? I said that before when you went off. I said it was to do with contracts, and trainers should have secure contracts in boxing. What are your thoughts on that?
Contracts don't save relationships. Contracts don't save nothing. If a boxer and a trainer together and they got a contract and neither one of those are happy and satisfied, it's just going to make the situation worse.
Yes, but like I said to you before about that Usyk situation, had you had a release contract with Usyk, if you had a release contract and they'd said, right, we're going to take Usyk doesn't want no longer want your services, and you got paid a 500,000 or $1 million for that.
Let me tell you something. In most cases in boxing, trainers don't get contracts. Very rarely do they get contracts. And let me tell you something. Huh? It just don't happen.
Why?
It's never happened in boxing. It's never happened.
All right. Well, you explained it to me.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something else. In boxing, you don't get those contracts, and very rarely over history will you find yourself. And when these guys start making that big money, no, they put a roof on that. You're not going to get no 13%. You're not going to get 10%. When those guys start making, you see what happened to Abel Sanchez, right? And Golovkin, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
You know, when that starts happening, when those millions start coming in, they're gonna say, "Hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you, I'm getting 10 million. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you 250,000." And in Abel's camp, he said, "I'm gonna give you 100,000." He was getting 33 million or something of that figure, somewhere around there. He was getting some millions though. It was more than 10 million. 33 million, I think it was. I'm gonna give you 100,000 out of 33 million. Abel balked at. Said, "What? Man, I've been with you from the very beginning. Blah 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 blah. It does not make a difference. I'm gonna give you $100,000." Abel said, "Hey man, up yours." He said, "All right, see you."
So then he went with Jonathan Banks. So
Yeah,
Jonathan Banks is taking 100,000 now instead.
maybe he might have came at Jonathan Banks and gave him less. It's no telling what he did. Whether he gave him the 100,000 or gave him less, I don't know. But this is how this boxing thing goes, man. They don't, very, I think an exception to that rule is Chris Bird. Chris Bird is a good guy. He looked out for his people. I know from insiders that was with Chris Bird that Chris Bird, when he won the world championship, he upped their pay. He upped the pay for all the guys that was working with him. And that's rare. That's very, very rare. But Chris Bird, I heard from insiders, said that when Bird won the title, he came and gave us more money.
Damn, I have to get Chris Bird back on the show talking about that.
Yeah, Chris Bird, that's from inside. I would tell you who, but I'm not at liberty to do that. But they said that Chris Bird called a meeting and said, "I'm going to give you X amount of percentage more." Yeah.
Wow.
So he's a good guy. It don't happen all the time. You don't get that when they don't part. They'd rather take that money. A lot of fighters rather take that money and go buy jewelry, go buy women, cars, or buy drinks at a bar. They'll blow 60,000 buying drinks at a bar before they give it to you. I'm telling you what I know. This is my experience I'm sharing over these years. 51 years I've been around this thing, and I've seen some dirty ass people, man. Dirty boxers, dirty managers, dirty promoters. I've seen them all.
Wait, you can't get that in boxing. You can't get dirty fighters and dirty promoters in boxing. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say. That's what they're saying now. It's a clean sport.
Oh man. I can tell you some stories, man. I can tell you some stories that make your head spin. And I could be on the phone now until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
We will do a specific show on dirty boxing. I think that would be great.
Oh man.
Late night special with Uncle Bashir, dirty boxing, X-rated.
Oh man. You have one promoter. We have one promoter in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. The guy skipped after the fight with all of the fight, all the money. Good thing we had already had our plane tickets to go back. That time. Another time we didn't have no plane ticket to go back. He skipped town with the money, and nobody got paid. The fighters get paid, the handlers they get paid, nobody got paid. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Did he get caught?
Huh?
Did you get caught?
As far as I know, I didn't get my money, so no, he didn't get caught. I got my money, man. I don't care, but I ain't get no money, so as far as I'm concerned, he didn't get caught. Man, I had little children then. My children was little. Can you imagine? Dad been gone from home for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Come home, Dad ain't got no money. You know, no money. So that's just the tip of it. You know, that's the tip of the iceberg.
That we'll leave that for show in itself. I think that'll be a great show to have.
Oleksandr Usyk is a good guy, you know, but people around him influences him to act differently from the guy that I knew when I came to
maybe
Ukraine.
His manager. Do you think he's a good guy?
No, I don't. I don't feel nothing for him because somehow I feel he was instrumental. He spoke to me at the WBC convention.
Right.
And he said, he came up to me, and he said to me, I had nothing to do with the decision of Usyk. You know, he made the decision that he wanted to change things, you know, but
Nah,
I didn't buy that. Because
all those years
all of a sudden, everything changed when Egis Klimas came into the picture. In my opinion, everything changed. His attitude, his persona. You know, we had a closeness that never was to be exemplified again. Usyk and I had a closeness. It never was to be again. Everything changed immediately when Egis Klimas came in the picture. And sitting at the table, when Egis Klimas, myself, and a couple other people from the camp, we met in a restaurant in Ukraine. And Egis Klimas said to me, this is the first 10, 15 minutes we were together. The first time I ever saw him. He said to me that this man is talking about terminating you. I said, who's talking about terminating who? I was in the fog when he said this. He said him. He pointed to Usyk. Usyk was looking away, looking down at the table or something. He wasn't looking at me. And Egis Klimas said that he's talking about terminating you. This is what Egis Klimas said to me at the table. And I said to Egis, I said, hey, people can terminate anybody they want to terminate. But replacing me is going to be the problem. I said, I didn't do nothing for him to terminate me. Why would he want to do that? That's what I said to Egis Klimas. And Usyk looked at Egis Klimas and said, we won the world championship together, so he's not going anywhere.
Ooh.
That's what he said. That's what he said to Egis. He said, well, we won the world championship. This is what Usyk said. I'll never forgot that. He said, we won the world championship together, and he's not going anywhere. Ooh. But from that point on, everything changed. So, yeah, I felt that Egis Klimas was
the reason,
if not wholeheartedly, partially to blame for the breakup.
Well, you've known Usyk for how many?
But at the end of the day, Usyk is his own man. Usyk is his own man, and he should have told him, said no.
But how did Klimas get into the picture? Klimas wasn't there at the start, was he?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what goes on while I'm sleeping. I don't know how he got in the picture.
That's why
Lomachenko. He probably was. Well,
that's why I respect. That's why I respect guys like Tunde Jai. In this respect, Tunde Jai and Adam Booth. Wherever their fighter goes, they are there. Wherever the fighter goes, when the fighter's there, they're there because they're looking after their investments.
That's the same thing with men and women. You can be anywhere you want to be. If she's going to go, she's going to go. So I never sweated about no woman in my entire life. I've never sweated about a woman. Huh? Because you can't. You can't make nobody stay with you.
Yeah, but hold on. What about back in the day of Don King and the handlers with all those fighters? That was Don King's investment. So you had handlers there to make sure guys turned up in camp, stayed in camp, and didn't run off and do mad, crazy things. So you had handlers there. You know this.
But Don King fed different fighters from long-handled spoons. He knew loose cannons when he saw them. Don King was a master. In every phase of the imagination, he was a master. And he knew he would feed you from a long-handled spoon. He knew the loose cannons. He knew who was going to last years and who was going to last a couple of months. He knew it. And he was smart enough to capitalize on it.
Here we go. John Barron says, sounds like my ex-wife. Can't admit when they are wrong. Sounds like Usyk is not going today admit he is wrong, even if it's to his own detriment.
John is probably right, you know. But I'm telling you what happened. That was the first set. And then when we got in the camp, the day of the weigh-in, I got ready to go on the podium, and the guy put his hand from me and said, wait a minute now, you can't come up here. I said, wait a minute. I said, it's my fighter. He said, I don't care. You don't have a blue tag. It was some kind of tags they gave away, you know, and it was Egis Klimas, and the conditioning coach was on the stage with Usyk. I was in the audience. Now, that had never, ever happened to me before in my whole career as a boxing trainer. All of the years I have been in boxing all over the world, that had never, ever happened to me before. And I was given a different place card that allowed people on the stage and didn't allow other people. And that was the first time that I had never been standing there with my fighter at the podium, at the scale. You know, even when I was with Emmanuel, I was always on the podium with Emmanuel. When Latimer weighed in, when Lennox Lewis weighed, I was always there. But I wasn't allowed to be there, and I said, this is over. I didn't like that. That was no class, no respect. I said, this is over. I knew right then and there, I said, this is over. I'm not gonna tolerate this. That's right. So I had reason to believe that Egis Klimas was behind the split, that he was influencing it. But at the end of the day, Usyk is his own man. He should have stood up and said, no, I'm not gonna tolerate this. He should have said, no, where's my training?
Usyk allowed you to be disrespected.
And that's what I was gonna confront him about. But we never met again. After that day, I was gone. A few months later, I received a text message saying that I no longer need your services. And
the thing is, this is the same Usyk that said that he saw you as his uncle or his dad.
Yeah.
But I remember us doing the interview about it. He said
But I'm telling you, the world through your show. That's why I feel that Egis Klimas was behind the scenes stirring the pot. And then he made another statement. They had a press conference or something. And we was in California, and I prepared to go to the press conference. When he came, he said, oh, no, Usyk and I are going to go. So I said, all right, okay, cool. I said, but isn't the trainer supposed to go? He said, no, we're just going to go. And at that press conference, he said, if any trainer comes in, he said, Usyk's already got a lot of amateur experience. So if any trainer comes in and tries to make changes, it's somewhere on the internet. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it is.
You know, if a trainer comes in and tries to make changes, well, let me tell you something. He's gonna get in trouble. He's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to be removed. You know. So he was saying all of these things. You know, he at the WBC convention, he said, "Well, I didn't have anything to do with it, but I'm led to believe in my heart, in my gut, to this day, that he had plenty to do with it."
Snake.
That for some reason or another, he didn't like me, and I didn't like him. I sensed it. In that camp. I said, this is the last camp. I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm not going to let somebody disrespect me like this here. I said, I knew it. So, I had reason to believe that he was behind the scenes stirring the pot and influenced it. But I still say that OLEKSANDR Usyk should have stood up. He should have stood up. But, that was his decision. I'm all right with it. life goes on. Like I said, one boxer
doesn't define you.
Doesn't define who I am as a boxing trainer or as a human being.
So should Usyk lose, asked Leif, and he asked for you to come back, what demands would you make, Uncle? I mean, after the disrespect you've been through, I can understand why you wouldn't want to work with Usyk again. I wouldn't want to work with Usyk again. I wouldn't even want to talk to him on the high street, let alone work with him again. I mean, that's just disgusting.
That's how it went down. And I challenge anybody to say that it went down different. I'm telling you how it went down.
Eugene said there's two different classes of Ukrainians. He says you've got the type like the Klitschko's, and then you've got the type like what you deal with, what you dealt with there. Two types of Ukrainians, he said.
That was it was lousy. I didn't like the way that
I think Ukrainian.
I was really shocked. I was really shocked. Not at Egis Klimas. I was shocked at Usyk. I was shocked that he let that shit happen. I was really shocked. I was shocked, man. I said, I can't believe that he did this.
When you looked in the eyes of Egis Klimas, what did you see?
I saw a person that didn't like me.
Because you want a good trainer?
No, he didn't like me.
Well, he never knew you. How can he not like what he doesn't know? I felt
a sense of racism. I felt that he was treating me from a perspective of a racist. I felt that he was treating me from a perspective of a racist. That's what I saw. When I looked in his eyes, I saw racism. All right? I'm born in 1951. And the people that were born in the 50s and 60s and 70s is very, very hard, very, very difficult to deceive them. When I looked in his eyes and the actions thereafter told me this guy is racist. He's treating me from a racist perspective.
Remember, we had all that stuff with Kovalev, and we had stuff Kovalev saying things about Black American trainers. Remember that? And the stuff about Adonis Stevenson. Well, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, does it? Look who was involved there.
That's my perspective. That's how I felt. Now I stand to be corrected if that's not the case. But that's what my perspective was, that the guy is a racist.
Okay.
That he influences that. In fact, there's nobody that's black in that camp now. No black people.
Remember, I said to you they were building a camp that was going to be all Ukrainian, so they were going to dominate world boxing with this training camp. It's all gone. This camp was all gone wrong for Lomachenko.
In order to dominate that there, they got to get some teachers. They got to get some teachers. It's being a teacher for one boxer is one thing, but being a universal teacher that you teach on and on. Boxing lasts more than one boxing.
It's falling apart now with Lomachenko getting beat, so that's out of it.
Boxing lasts more than one boxer. You can teach one boxer, but how long is your legacy? How far can that go? All right, how far can that go? You can teach one box. Yeah, you can teach one box, but how far can it go?
So in terms
people don't, people in boxing are like people in other businesses. They see racist stuff going on, but they turn their head the other way like they don't see it. But I'm one of those kind of people that will take that shit head on. All right? I believe that's what it was. I believe that racism played a part in it. I got that. My gut feeling is that racism played a part. And I'll always stand up and combat racism. I don't care who it's coming from, where it's at in the world, I'm going to combat it. Because it's not right. It's not right.
It's not right.
No, it's not right. I was just surprised that Usyk could let that shit go on like that.
Well, so, Usyk called him your dad or his uncle. Is that the way you allow your dad and uncle to be treated? Wow.
Well,
You were
that's
uncle
what I
and
felt about Egis Klimas. I think
you
that
were
he
the
was the culprit.
uncle and the dad of convenience. That's what I think. It was
Well,
conditional love.
perhaps so. But
It was conditional love.
I think that he was the culprit.
I wonder what the Klitschko's thought about that. I'd love to know if I could pick a moment with Vladimir or Vitaly
You
to hear
know,
what they think of that.
I've been with Vitaly and Vladimir for many, many years. And man, those guys, if there's any racism that I felt coming from Egis Klimas, it's just the stark difference between Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. Those guys, for me, are beautiful, man. They are beautiful. They are beautiful, beautiful people. And man, it don't get better than them. Well, Vlad Tsarenko and his father and his mother and his grandmother, it don't get better than them. It don't get better than them. I've never felt it from. I never felt any racism from Usyk. I've never felt that from him. Not a itty bit. But I felt it from Egis Klimas. I felt it. All right. I ain't shy to talk about it. I'll tell him too. I felt it. It's very hard to convince somebody who comes from the era from where I come from in America that you're not a racist. You don't have to say a word to recognize racism. No, you don't have to say a word. I don't. I can sense it. I can sense racism when I see it upon meeting it. Couple of seconds, 2, 3, 5 seconds at the most, I can sense it.
Yeah, but you know the type. You know the type. So I guess it's a redundant question now asking you, what would it take for you to have? I haven't heard that story now. I don't even think even talking about you and Usyk reuniting is. I guess the first demand would be to sack Egis Klimas. That would be the first thing. He'd have to go.
Well,
for you and him to get back, Egis Klimas would have to go. That would be the ultimatum. Me, or Klimas.
I don't want to be. And one of the rules that I made before taking on Vlad Tsarenko is that he never get involved with Egis Klimas. I don't want nothing to do with him. I don't want nothing to do with him. I don't want anything to do with him. I don't want to act like everything is okay. I don't want to act like it's bygones is by. I don't want that. I don't want nothing to do with it. If that's how you feel about me, thank you, sir. That's the same way I feel about you. Let's keep it moving. All right, let's keep it moving.
Okay.
That's what I felt. That's what I felt about him. He came to me and said, "Look." He came to me. What's John saying?
Bashir is an honest man. He will probably ask for the same 30% he always gets.
Yeah,
I think I'd ask for 20% after the nonsense you've been dealing with.
Look, let me tell you something. Like I said, Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko has got to be two of the dearest people in my life right now. Two of the dearest people in my life. And there were people inside of our camp. White men. They was like brothers to me. All of the guys. It was never in the Vladimir Klitschko camp. There was never, not even a tinge of racism. You can't fake me. You can't fool me. And those guys were as close to me as any brother I ever had. And they're still close to me,
Yeah, I hear that.
So, but when a person comes in with this, when I said, why would this guy take the fighter out for a weigh-in and then have the trainer to stay on the floor? I just couldn't, I couldn't understand why did he let that happen. He arranged for that to happen. He arranged for that to happen because he was the manager. He said who's going to have the blue ticket and the red ticket, and this. He knew that I was the trainer, but he was on the podium, and another person was on the podium, and I'm the freaking trainer. I said, what kind of nonsense is this? And I saw it right there. I said, you know what? I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here because they're doing this here. There's no telling. Can I sleep at night? Is it safe to sleep at night? Because I didn't know what was going on. I said, I got to get out of here. But I felt slighted and disrespected. I knew that was going to be the last camp because if Usyk didn't terminate me, I was going to quit anyway. So either way, it was going to result in the same thing.
It was bad when you told me about it and you rang me up about it in camp.
I told you.
It's even worse. It was worse. I mean, I said to you, get out of that camp as soon as. But I said to you, you better get out of there as soon as possible. Watch your food and drink.
I told you 3 weeks before the fight that
yeah. I remember you telling me. You told me
something is not right here.
Yeah.
Something is not right. You know, but you don't disrespect somebody to get something done. You say, hey man, it's over here. Take your money and go. You know, I don't want to do this no more. And it'll be better. But that's my opinion.
So if John said,
you know what? All of the time that I spend in Ukraine now, I can count the people on one hand. All these years that I spent in Ukraine, I can count the people on one hand that I felt treated me racist in that country. I can count them on one hand. You know, all the people treats me good, you know, and I can tell whether it's genuine or whether it's fake. And most of the people treat me so good. Every now and then I'll encounter somebody who conduct themselves in a racist manner. And I hurry up and get away.
Give me an example of that, Uncle. In Ukraine, you experienced.
Well, you know, I went to buy some juice one day in Ukraine.
Okay.
I was getting ready to buy some pomegranate juice, some natural pomegranate juice.
Okay.
You know, they squeeze it, put it in a bottle right in front of you.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And I was just being just cordial to the lady. You know, I was just being affable, just a good guy.
Yeah.
And you know, I was saying, yeah, give me a little more. Matter of fact, give me another. And I was trying to talk. And she was moving back, and she said something in Ukraine. And I kept saying, I don't understand. And then 2 other ladies were standing, and one of the ladies said something to her. She said something to the lady, and they got into a shouting match. And the lady spoke English, and the lady said, listen, she said that you are like a cat trying to lick her hand. I said, pardon me? She said that you were like a cat trying to lick her hand.
Uncle.
And I looked at the lady, and I looked at her, I said, she said that about me? She said, yes. And I told her she had no right to say that about you. I said, thank you. And I walked away. I left the juice there. I said, no, I got to go. Then another time I was coming in on the train, and the lady was selling fruit and vegetables in the train. And then I came up to the bus stop. She told me to stand back, you know. I said, stand back for what? I want to buy some fruit. And she said something in Ukrainian, and the guy said, just go away and leave her, you know. I said, okay. So yeah, it's you know, it's some old guard racist people there, but for the most part, in that country, the people treats me good.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've heard.
You know, they treat me really good. You know, really good. I mean, so you got some old guard people who are just racist, who are
that's around the world.
They probably was raised as racist.
Right.
You know?
Ignorant without education.
Huh?
Let's move on.
Yes.
I'm sure Bashir would want to bring in people he trusts and is comfortable to work with. Then Jonathan says, true, Bashir. I work with Bobby Chairs on a handshake and never an issue. It just depends on the integrity of the person. we're back to that whole contract thing again.
Bobby Ches is one of those people, man, that I love like a brother, man. He's a good dude, man. Bobby Ches is a really, really good dude. I mean, a really, really good guy, a genuinely good guy. John is a good guy. I know John and I go way back together. You know,
Wow.
good guy, man. I just don't understand racism. I don't understand how somebody can be racist and then go to church on Sunday and say, "Oh, dear God, dear Lord, forgive my sins," and this and that. How could you ask God for forgiveness and you hate creation, the creation that He made?
Simple, because God ain't black to them. If God was black, there'd be a problem.
Oh Lord.
Or if it's Japanese.
Oh Lord.
See, God is white. Because if God is black, they have a problem. I mean, yeah, there'd be a problem.
That's bad. That's terrible. Oh God. That's terrible.
It's true.
That's terrible, you know. Jeez. I mean, you say that you love God, and then but you hate His creation. Good gracious. How backwards can people be?
There's some backward people.
It's amazing.
Even if you have a contract, you will spend plenty of time and money in court to defend probably a losing battle. That being said, I still try to have a contract. Yeah, same here. That's what I'm saying about
John knows. I'm telling you, I've had contracts over the years. I've had contracts. It's a 50-50 thing when you get to that court. Sometimes the judge will be on your side, and other times the judge will shut you down before you even get out the first day.
Evening, Ingram. Have you discussed Anthony Yarde? We talked about Anthony Yarde, and Anthony Yarde's latest videos, where virtually alludes to leaving Tunde as a coach. I think he will do. Any fighter that turns says like making changes. I mean, he might keep Tunde as manager, but I think he might get rid of him as a coach.
I think it's reasonable to believe he'll probably try to leave him as a coach, but in order for a coach to make a change with Anthony Yarde is that he'd have to remove Tunde completely. He can be the manager, but he can't come in there giving advice or innuendos as a trainer, because no real trainer is going to be able to function like that.
Yeah,
Anthony Yarde can't dismiss Tunde partially. He has to get rid of him as the trainer, periodly, and tell him
that is going to have its own problems itself. Can you imagine? I mean, Tunde has built a lot on Anthony Yarde.
Hey. If I came in to train him, he'd have to get rid of him. He can't have anything to say. He can't have any influence over the training camp.
Would you trade Anthony Yarde?
I would love to train him. He's a nice kid. I like him. He's a nice kid. I can make the difference in his style. You know, I can show him how to get the most yardage out of his style.
Okay. The most yardage. I like that one. The most yardage. Yes, go on with that. Lyrics, uncle. Yardage.
Yeah. I forgot his name was Yard, but the most yard. He gets it. Yeah, I could. Oh, wait.
Yeah, Usyk was looking down when Egis Klimas spoke. That tells me Usyk knew and was just embarrassed.
Yes, he was. He was looking down. When he said that, I looked at Usyk. I said, "Terminate me for what? What did I do?" And he was looking down at the table, wasn't looking up at me, was looking down at the table, and he was talking down to the table. He wasn't looking at me because he knew it was wrong. He knew it was wrong.
Look at here. If you let them disrespect you, it will never end. You did the right thing.
Yeah, I don't listen. I'm not gonna stay no place where I'm not comfortable, where I'm not respected, where I'm not comfortable. I'm not staying. You know.
There we go. Shout out. BC Left Talk Danger Zone Talk Boxing Talk. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. We need to do a crossover show very, very soon. Shalom, Coach Ali. How are you doing, Suppingram? I'm a good brother. Any questions to Coach Uncle? Let's see here. Many truths spoken in jest, says Liv. So, is there a coach, James Ali Bashir, you would like to take on as a pupil? That's an interesting question.
With a coach? Yes, it's a few guys out there. You know, it's a few guys, a few young guys. And, you know, I just like good people. You know, I like to work with good people, man. I don't want to work with some guy that's trying to be a wise ass. You know, nobody likes wise asses. You know, nobody likes that. You know, I don't. But I'm not above. I'm not above. What's what you doing? I'm not above teaching somebody else because, like I said, I'm not gonna live forever. You know.
Let me throw a wild card. Let me throw you. Okay, give me 5 fighters in this current era. If you could train them, you would train. Okay, this is not disrespectful to any trainers though, but like any 5 fighters you could train or potentially train. Top 5, Britain or America?
Oh man.
You've got 5 fighters. You've got me. I'm your manager, as you know.
I like to train this young kid I saw last night, AK-47.
AK-47, who's that?
He got knocked out last night. He got knocked out. He's about 122 pounds.
Okay.
And he fought on Fox Network last night. He got knocked out. I like to train that kid. I like to train that kid. It was,
okay. If anybody knows who that kid is, please let us know.
AK-47 was on his trunk. That was his nickname. I like what I saw in him. I'd like to train him.
Oh, Coach, you know who this is.
I don't know who this is. Coach Ali, know me, Mel, I can Ben Yosef. I think I know this. I think so.
Yeah, he's on Facebook. Sounds good. Let's make it happen on Wednesday.
It's a welterweight kid. It's a welterweight kid I'd like to train. What is his name?
From where? UK or USA?
USA.
Okay.
It's a welterweight kid.
Yeah, there's a lot of welterweights out there.
Tall, hard punching welterweight. What is his name? Speedy something.
Not Rashidi.
Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my boy. I've been telling people for years about him. Rashidi Ellis, number 1 welterweight in the amateur USA amateur.
Yeah,
had him on the channel a few
I'd
times.
like to train him. You know, when
I say
I like to train fighters. I like to train them not because they can fight, because of their temperament, their attitude towards boxing. You know.
Okay. You know who I'd love to see you train if I had my way? I would love to see you train Joseph Parker.
Yeah, Joseph Parker. I would
love to. I think you could do a massive job with Joseph Parker.
Yeah, because he wants boxing. He wants boxing.
You know who else? You know who else I'd give you to train?
Joseph Parker. Yeah, I'd do that.
Right, Marius Breedis.
Yeah, I could work with Marius Breedis too.
On a challenge for the heavyweight championship of the world, Marius Breedis.
Yeah, because Marius and I get along well. We get along very
so
well.
That's a guy I think you could take to the heavyweight championship of the world. Who else? Daniel Dubois. I think you do a great job with Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, these people, because of their attitudes, I can work with these.
And guys. I think because he needs to, I think in boxing, I'm talking about like him as a like his father. He needs a boxing.
But the thing
He needs
is,
a father.
the thing is, yeah, Daniel Dubois is a good guy. You know,
Daniel Dubois would be
we was
brilliant
in
with you, I
training
think.
camp. We was in training camp together, and I liked him. He's a really nice guy, and a
You
good
know what else
fighter,
I think?
and a good fighter.
You know who else I think you'd do well with? Joshua Buatsi,
I don't know Joshua.
light heavyweight. Get hit with too many right hands over the top. Joshua Buatsi's another.
Yeah, that's not good. You don't want to get hit with too many more of them.
He's in a light heavyweight division. He don't want to be getting hit with them sort of shots. Another guy, I think.
I think I saw a couple of fights with Waxy had.
There we go. I think he's talking about the kid that got killed last night, Angel.
Yeah, that's him.
AK-47.
Yeah.
You'd want to train him.
Huh?
Why? He just got knocked out.
Oh man, I like what I saw in him. He got caught. He got caught doing some stuff he had no business doing. He's a long, tall fighter, and he let the other fighter get inside who could also punch, and he got knocked out. You know, he got knocked out. He was hurt, and I think the referee was on point by stopping the fight when he did, because the kid was hurt. He wasn't responding to the referees telling him to step forward. He's glassy-eyed. So yeah, the referee had the right to stop it. But nonetheless, I would like to work with that kid. I would like to have him. He's a tall, rangy, hard-punching, long, lanky guy, and I like this style. I like what he was doing.
You know the guy that I'd love to see you work with? I don't know about his training. Callum Johnson, the light heavyweight that dropped Beterbiev. I'd like to see you work with him too. Two-fisted attack. He get his fitness up. This guy can be real dangerous in the light heavyweight division.
I don't know him. You know, you got to send me some stuff over with Waxy and him. Send it over.
Uncle, see, you need to employ him on a full-time basis to be your scout. Bring some quality fighters, Jude.
Listen. We can do other things together. You know, we can do some things. If I get into England, we can do other things together. You know.
Doesn't have to be an uncle. Doesn't have to be in England.
You could be my understudy.
I've got no problem with that. The problem I've got is England. The rest of it is cool, just not England. We can fly into England and fly out of England. Pick them up, bring them to America, keep them away from England. Let them do all the training camp, let them train, like Lennox did. Leave England, do your training camp, and then go back to England afterwards.
Listen, I just love boxing, you know. My life is in boxing, you know. My life is in boxing. And I love to teach. And I would love to say, you know, that I taught this young man, I taught this young woman, I taught those people, you know. When I'm old and gray, when I'm sitting in a wheelchair, you know, if I'm sitting back and I'm saying, wow, there's somebody that's carrying on the teaching.
Listen. In 2019, I approached you and said you need to do a masterclass. Then we had the Ivana Habazan disaster, which is what I call it, right? 2021, Uncle. I want to be hearing about the JAB, the Precision Craft Boxing Academy in 2021. Whether that means you going on masterclasses around the world, teaching it, getting that money together, and getting a gym of your own, I want to hear about that in 2021. Yeah, you hear?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a crying shame that a trainer like yourself, arguably the best trainer in the world, arguably,
right,
is not getting the opportunities that you do deserve. And it would be great.
You know what I find out a lot of times fighters don't want somebody like me around because I'm like their conscience to them. I don't play.
No, wait. Forget that. No, forget all that. Let's put that to one side. Move all them people to one side. You get an academy of 10 or 15 trainers that will pay top dollar. They'll pay good money because nobody's going to pay top dollar to come into a gym to then say they know it alls. Nobody's going to do that. So it'll be like seminars. And you're the guru. You get in there, you train the 10, 15 guys, and they work with you. Or 10 guys, they work with you. Or 7 guys, they work with you so they can carry on your legacy. For example, I spoke to a guy called Tommy Caruth. Now, he was trained by one of Bruce Lee's last students. So he had the Bruce Lee's mindset, because Bruce passed that on, right? So it's because Emmanuel Stewart, when he passed away, he should have left behind CDs and DVDs. Freddie Roach has got a DVD. David Hayes got a DVD of a workout. What's James Ali Bashir got? So we need to have some legacy of James Ali Bashir, and you get paid for it. If boxing,
listen, this is what I do is, I come to England. I'll come over there next week, and I'll stay in that gym right behind you.
I've got a gym across the road from me, literally 30 seconds away.
A boxing gym?
A boxing gym, 30 seconds away. Across the road.
All right, then I'll come there and stay with you for 2 weeks.
And do what?
Huh?
And do what?
And form the class.
Me look at you and you look at me.
That's funny.
We're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it real, Uncle. Seriously, I would love 3 things. If it were me, and you know how honest I am, I would love to see you go somewhere like Africa, build an academy, get an academy out there, get all the top fighters.
Man, I don't want to hear nothing about Africa. All right?
Hey, listen.
I want to go to Africa.
I know you had your stint in South Africa.
Oh,
I know you had
my
your stint in
God.
South Africa. That was South Africa. I don't know who sent you to South Africa. You went to South Africa. Maybe you were thinking to meet Nelson Mandela. Somebody should have told you weren't going to get to see Mandela, because, rest in peace, Mandela had passed on. So I don't know what you were doing in South Africa. Although it might have been a nice holiday. I don't know what you're doing in South Africa. Maybe you were looking for the Lion King. I don't know. But, place like Ghana, a guy like that, Accra, Ghana, and you've got great fighters that come out of Ghana. Great fighters that come out of Ghana. Ike Corte, and of course, Azuma Nelson. So those guys would be guys you could pick their brains and say, well, listen, we want to set something up here. We want to funnel and do something here. Those are guys you could talk to, because they're there. They know Africa and they know how it would work. And a guy like Azuma Nelson, the professor. Well, wow. He could fight.
A bunch of guys from Ghana that was in the Don King camp. Good fighters that never went nowhere. You know why?
Why?
Because Africa is suffering from many of the things that the rest of the world is suffering from. A bunch of guys around us, rah, that don't know what they're doing.
Exactly. So you know what you're doing. So forget the rah. Forget the people that don't want to know. Forget the people that know all.
So you're trying to get me. You know where to go in Ghana, right?
What's that?
Do you know where the fighters are in Ghana?
Yeah, I'm sure we could do something to find them. Not a problem.
I'll tell you where they are. They're in a city called Bukum. Bukum. That's where the fighters are in Ghana.
Okay.
All right. And then, I'll say some good fighters. There was one fighter there named James Amran. I don't know what happened to him. I think he was 135, 140. Was a good fighter. Just disappeared.
But there's one thing about those guys in Africa, is going to come. They're going to be hungry and they're going to come to fight. And you could probably bank on them better than the Cuban fighters, because they've got a great amateur pedigree. They come to America, they see the girls.
No. You can't bank on the guys from Ghana. Don't go the distance. The Cuban guys go the distance. The Cuban guys have longevity.
No, they don't.
They last.
Cuban guys got what longevity?
Look,
no, they don't. In amateur boxing, maybe not in pro boxing.
Most of the Cuban guys make it to the top 10.
And then what happens to them? And then what happens to them? Let's go with them all. Let's go with them all. Wait, let's go for them. Guzman?
Look, I'm just saying.
What's his name? Ortiz? What was he? Mike Perez?
Look, at least we get to see who they are. The Ghanese fight, we don't get to even see who they are. We can't name some Ghanese guys.
Okay. Ike Corte gave you 1. 2. What's his name? Alfred Cote. Wait. Alfred Cote. Alfred Cote. Wait. Alfred Cote, Ike Corte, Azuma Nelson, but that's 3 already.
Old school.
Isaac Dogba, WBO champion.
Mm-hmm.
Ghanaian. but maybe
But
it was handled wrong.
we saw Isaac Double. We saw the beginning and the end. We knew what was going to happen to him.
Yeah, that was because of his camp. That was because of his training camp and the people around him.
You hit the nail on the head. Exactly what I'm alluding to. Exactly what I'm alluding to.
Yeah, but I know but you're going to be in that camp. You're going to be the driving force. That's the point. You're the driving force, not no 2-bit Poundland trainer.
Oh man,
It's a debate that we need to. It's a debate we need to continue having, and a masterclass, Uncle Bashir, 2021, the Precision Craft Boxing Academy Roadshow, where you just turn up, you do your training, and you get the hell out of there, and you walk off with lots of money. That's what it is. You come in, you teach your craft, you get out of there.
We got to get some sponsors, man. It costs money to do that.
Yeah, but it costs money to do that. You mean it costs money to do that? It costs them money to do that.
Right. But,
okay, so we get a venue. Let's talk about it off air. It can be done.
Yeah. Okay, boss. We do that on there.
But let's do it, man. 2021. Come on.
All right, we talk. We'll talk. We'll try to make some sense of it all.
Yeah, and if it comes to the point where you might just even have to do videos online and actually do the videos in the gym and then afterwards show it online. And it don't matter if people are listening to this anyway, because nobody's got the experience that you have. So it don't make a difference.
So what you saying? Do it online? So
basically, you would do like a course online. So you basically show like we're throwing certain punches on the bag, setting up certain punches, talking about certain movements. So you could have you and Vlad in the ring, for example. Vlad moving from left to right, back and forth, for example. It might be slipping the jab. It might be setting up a combination. It might be rolling back and throwing the right hand. It might just be different tricks. It might be just how to shadow box properly, what to look for.
We do that there. How do we package it? How do we sell it?
You package it, you do a video, and you get it online. So you can do it as a Udemy or an Allison training program. Or you could package it as a 10-pack CD. So it could be the jab, the right hand, the left hook, combination punching, fitness, defense, footwork. So each category on a CD, and you put that together, and they call it the Precision Craft Masterclass.
Okay, on my end, how I do it, I set up a camera.
So you get a video. So you can have 3 fighters. You could have Vlad Tsarenko as your heavyweight, then you get a welterweight, and then a lightweight. You got the 3 categories. So obviously, how you train a heavyweight, as you know, is not how you train a welterweight or lightweight. So then, with the lightweight and the welterweight, a lower divisions, you can use a lighter guy to work with, and then you've got Tsarenko as your heavier guy to work with, and there's certain things you teach.
I got a young man that's going to be in the bridgerweight.
We talked about this.
Yeah, I think, like I said yesterday, I would have been against something like this. But I see now that boxing is a commercial art, just like everything else.
I think so. Yes.
So if the more boxers that make money, the happier I am, because these guys are underappreciated. These guys get out there and get knocked around for years and come out of the sport and still have to go get a job. So these guys can go out there and go to the top of the game and make some money, then I'm happy about it. You know?
There's somebody saying that they'd like to see you work with Felix Vallejo, the former Olympian. I think you could do a rehabilitation job with him. He needs it.
Wow, yeah. I mean, Felix is, oh man, he was doing so good in that last fight. But those guys, those Japanese guys, they're something. They got a mentality. They got a steel mentality. That was a tough fight.
So Uncle got here. Listen to this interview, and one thought: these men should be working together. We were trying to.
Well, me, yeah, you and I, yeah, we should work. We could work together because we like family. As long as we've been on this phone, we've been on this phone forever, you know. So we wouldn't have us being together and we wouldn't have no problem.
Absolutely, Uncle.
We wouldn't have no problem, you know. It's easy for us to work together because we collaborate.
You're the master, Uncle. I'm just a student. I wanted to ask why the jab evolved from a KO punch into Dempsey's time to what we see today. Is this because of boxing's evolving or something else?
Well, people don't commit to the jab the way they used to do. I remember that time when Sonny Liston's jab would knock your head off. You know, Dempsey and these kind of guys. Those jabs were designed to do damage, but now it's like a duster, like you dusting furniture. You know, and they don't commit to it no more like they used to. Nobody wants to commit to it because they think they're always worried about the right hand coming over. You know, like if they jab too stiff, then they're looking for the counter right hand to come over that there. But how about how about a counter right hand to counter the right hand?
But what about even when you're throwing the jab? I'm just thinking, throwing the jab and then stepping and giving yourself this 2 inches, stepping back. You're throwing the jab and stepping back. So if there's a counter, they fall short, so you can count them back with the right hand.
A lot of boxers don't learn how to do that. They never learn how to do that.
And that's just you saw of who's fighting like that? Yeah, what's his name? Lyndon Arthur. He was throwing a jab, but making sure he's just enough away from Yarde. So Yarde, even if he threw the right hand over the top, Arthur was just out of the way of the shot every time. You just step up just a little bit.
Utilizing the jab takes a chemistry. It takes a chemistry to utilize the jab.
Yes.
And a lot of times guys don't learn that chemistry. It's something that has to be taught in many cases. You know, Vlad Tsarenko will get frustrated sometimes trying different things. I tell him, don't get frustrated. Just keep trying. In the old school, it says practice makes perfect. You just keep trying it, and then suddenly, one day you're gonna say, "Hey, I did it."
Muscle memory.
You're gonna say, "I did it." I did it. It comes to
muscle
you like
memory.
Oh man, I seen guys that starting out they couldn't box a lick, but in the end they were beautiful boxers. They were beautiful boxers, and Maurice Harris was one of those guys.
Liston had no defenses. Why people talk of Liston, no defense?
Yeah, he had something to make up for his no defense. He had a good jab and a good right hand. So most of the time, he didn't have to have no defense. He didn't have to have
because Liston was a punk in life and boxing.
Well, I disagree. But he's saying that he's a punk. No, he wasn't no punk. He was a fighter. Did he see the 2 fights with Cleveland Williams? Those fights alone, you had to be some kind of fighter to be in there like that fight.
Guys, thanks. This has always intrigued me, and I always thought that these would be the people to ask about. I always wondered why the jab fell out of favor in this time.
Because they spend time pity-patting, slippy-slapping with those mitts. Pity-patting and slippy-slapping the mitts. Boxing is like a show now, you know? Nobody gets down to old school. Okay, all right, Phil. Still, I mean, why do people think? I mean, why do people think that Sonny Liston was a monster in heavyweight boxing? If it wasn't for Muhammad Ali, Liston would have been champion probably for about 10 title defenses. Nobody could beat him.
Okay. Sorry, gentlemen. Follow-up question: did Larry Holmes have the kind of comparable jab for years ago? And in fact, did he have the best one of all time?
Larry Holmes had a heck of a jab. It was a power jab that'll knock your head off. But he had rhythm with it, you know. He had bounce with it. He'd stick that jab in your face and be gone before you try to counter. He was a beautiful boxer.
I think we've got somebody who's trying to distract and change the rhythm of the conversation. So let's go back to what we were talking about. Nobody was talking about Sonny Liston, so let's leave Liston right where Liston is. Sonny Liston. We won't talk about Sonny Liston. I don't know how we got into conversation. We're not going to focus any further on Sonny Liston. Okay, back to our conversation. Yeah, for the legacy of boxing, Uncle, you need for boxing and for the good of boxing, something needs to be left behind, because otherwise our sport is going to go. It's going to be taken over by rent a coach. I'm telling you, rent a coach. I mean, we've already got terrible pundits. The commentary is garbage. You know, our ex-champions are selling their souls to money, and instead of speaking the truth, they're speaking to scripts. So we can't look at ex-champions as some way of like, well, he's an ex-champion, he should know what he's talking about. No, he's an ex-champion. He'll do what the network want him to say. So we forget about that. So the art of boxing is being lost by money and just, you know, because who is actually going to speak the truth out there? And anybody who speaks too much of the truth, they no longer get airtime. So they have to be a buffoon on the channel.
That's a big thing in boxing today. Nobody tells the truth. And when the truth is apparent, everybody turn their head and look the other way. You know, and that, you know, I mean, if you don't kiss up to people, then people don't want you there. Yeah. I'm always going to tell the truth about whatever I see that's right, whatever I see that's wrong. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. I don't care who likes it, who doesn't like it. I'm going to tell the truth.
What does time add to a boxing trainer teacher? Depends what he's learning. I would thought experience of what he's learning, or whether he's learning anything and he's evolving. Because if he's not evolving, then he's not going to learn very much. So he can have all the time and not evolve as a trainer. What's your answer to that, Uncle?
What's the question?
Ask Uncle Bashir, what does time add to a boxing trainer teacher? And I was going to say basically that if a boxing trainer is not evolving,
the same thing that time adds to anything. What does time add to people just being alive? Wisdom, application, know-how, knowledge. You know, you know, sometimes you could be in life and don't learn nothing, and then other times you learn everything. But if you learn from a good teacher, if you really want to do it, then yeah, you can only grow. But a lot of times in boxing, as in life, people associate themselves with the wrong people, and they don't learn nothing. They don't grow.
Okay, this is by time, experience. He's gone. He's gone. He's a waste of time.
Huh? Wait,
no, don't worry. He's a waste of time, that guy. Don't waste about him. He adds nothing to the channel. So let's keep going, Uncle. So we were asking time by experience.
By time, I mean experience. What is he asking? What are you saying?
What does experience add to a boxing trainer? Well, you can see.
Okay, all right. Wait. How about a person in the first grade going to the 12th grade? What does that add? Same thing. Growth. Experience, hands-on. A lot of times people can experience things, but they don't take it in. They don't take it in. They don't learn. They don't grow from it. Experience is everything in boxing. Experience is everything.
But it's like common sense isn't common, Uncle. So if it was common, everybody would have it. And clearly, it's not the case.
No, it's not common sense. You take Hassan Rahman, Bernard Hopkins, Tim Witherspoon, Maurice Harris, numerous guys, you know, Jamil McCline. These guys didn't have no amateur experience. They got on the job teachers. Yep, on the job. Everything they gathered up on the job in that ring. Maurice Harris turned pro at 16 years old. 16 years old. And in them days, you didn't turn pro at 16 years old.
I think we answered that question earlier on in the show, Leif. We talked about your experience, what you offer in terms of experience. We spoke about it before. We mentioned that top of the show, Leif. You may have come in late. In case of in the case of shorter boxing in the heavyweight division,
he asked the question. What do I bring?
But we talked about that earlier,
Okay,
Uncle. We asked the question. I think he came in late. In the case of shorter boxers in the heavyweight division, must they employ a peekaboo type of style to get inside and pop under the jab, or are there other methods that they can employ?
Other methods they could employ. You know, they don't have to have a peekaboo style. That's not the only way to do it. I mean, Mike Tyson basically showed it. Mike Tyson said it's not how long your jab is; it's when you use it. And Mike Tyson had a good jab.
Yeah, he used to out jab guys who had longer reaches than him.
That's right. That's right. It's not how long the jab is; it's when you use it.
I did arrive late, guys. Sorry. Yeah, you did. Check this one out. Iman once said in an interview when he was training Nassim that he told him to avoid fighting one Manuel Marquez. Why would that be? Why are you advising that?
I don't want to answer that. I don't. Please give me a break. Please give me a break with that shit. I mean, that's nonsense, man. Come on.
I knew it was coming. Uncle.
Give me a break.
What we're missing is teachers of pugilism, the actual art. We have guys who care more about fancy pad work and the art of hit and not be hit. And that's what boxing is about, Uncle.
Amen.
Let's be honest.
Amen. I agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly.
But you have to say
nowadays people think because somebody does pad work that makes them a good trainer. It's bullshit. It doesn't make them
a good aerobic coach.
That pad work only accounts like for like 1/5 of what boxing is about.
Absolutely.
1/5 of it. I mean, come on, give me a
break.
break.
What about your defense? What about your footwork? What about your stamina?
Please. Oh, please.
What about your game plan?
Oh,
what about
please.
You get hit back? What happens when you get hit back? What about all that stuff?
I preferably, I'd like to train boxers without all the pad work.
Pad work. Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
I don't think that is that essential.
Nope.
When people look for
but ask
look for a reason to justify something, then they're gonna find a reason. They're gonna find some justification.
But Uncle, what is the percentage? If you're going to invest in something, what is the percentage that pad work equals world-class fighter?
I think it's nonsense. I think it's a psychological thing. I just think it's a psychological thing.
Nobody fights like that.
Pardon me?
No, but nobody fights. You're not getting hit back on the chin. That's the first thing. It's not realistic. Who are you going to fight like that in the ring?
And most of the time, the pad work is stunting the growth of the jab, of the execution of the punches, because the trainers is meeting the punch. The punch never gets out the pocket. The punch is never. Look, it's bullshit. Okay,
I know it's BS.
All right, it's bullshit. I've been out there all this time. I don't see the significance. Like I said, if people find a reason, they're going to find a reason to justify it. Well, the reason I'm using the pad work because it makes you sharper. Psychologically, okay. If that's what makes you sharp, great. I think it makes a boxer sharp. Somebody trying to punch you in your face. That's what makes a boxer sharp.
Somebody who hits very hard. Chasing you around the ring when you've done 12 rounds and you're knackered, and then a fresh guy coming in the ring looking to knock your block off. That'll get you sharp. Sorry, I heard him say that he was commentating during the Manny Pacquiao versus Marcus 3 fight, so I didn't understand. I didn't mean to offend.
No, he didn't offend. No, No, of course not. You didn't offend. I thought that for somebody to tell somebody that you shouldn't fight a particular fighter, then what are you in boxing for? Come on, get out of here. I don't want to hear that. I don't care who said it. You know, that you tell a guy, well, you shouldn't fight Manuel Marquez. You can fight everybody else, but don't fight Manuel Marquez. You know what I'm saying? But you can fight everybody. Get out of here. That's nonsense.
Is there a Hall of Fame boxer in history Mr. Bashir would like to have made even better? Yeah, Rocky Balboa. What do you think, Uncle? I think you and Rocky Balboa would get on.
First off, I want to say that boxers are not magicians.
No,
boxing trainers are not magicians. So for me to look back on somebody's career and say that I could have made them better, I think that's a far-gone conclusion. You know, I don't think that I can feel comfortable saying what I could have made somebody's career. You know, I can say whether I can help. That's what I would say. Not that I can make anybody better. I can help. You know, and it would be up to the mentality of the boxer. A lot of times, you got to understand, boxers don't listen. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother was saying. Mama said you could take a horse to the water, but you cannot make the horse drink.
Mm-hmm.
You can force his neck. You could tie bricks around his neck. He's not going to drink if he don't want to drink. So I tell boxers, I say, look, this is what I expect. Try to do this here. Try to do this here. And I do so long, and then I say in my mind, after a while, I say, you know what? This is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. So I'm not going to try to force it. I'm just going to just leave it alone. Every trainer. Oh wait, actually here. That's a good question.
Is it PEDs? Because people are suggesting PEDs.
Well, unless they prove it.
Well, we said before, you said top of the show. But I said to you, well, you had to take
he ate beef from Burger King, man. You know, he hasn't done no more. They found some PEDs in him, but he ate them at Burger King, and they stopped using it.
Does Bashir believe that they are born by a power punch, or is it somewhere to become that?
What is the question?
Does Uncle Bashir believe that there are born power punchers, or is there a way to become that?
I think punches are born. I think punches are born. I mean, you can increase the punching power a bit with different exercises and stuff, but I think for the most part,
technique,
punches are born.
So Huey Fury is the perfect example here. People say he hasn't got his man strength yet.
That's nonsense. Well, why did Mike Tyson get his at 17? You understand? No, the power is there. You know, it's either
you
there
got it
or
you
it's not
don't.
there. It's there or it's not there. But the people, as far as him having manpower, no, he just don't have it.
Tony Nobbs says, 1,000% agree about teaching without pads.
Yeah. Tony knows. Tony knows.
Shout out to Tony. And he goes here,
Tony's my guy. Tony down in Australia, and Tony sees some good fighters down there.
Yep. Boxers that went missing and never fought again? What does he mean by that? I don't understand that question. Do you answer that question?
What is it?
I don't get that question. Boxers that went missing and never fought again?
Hey, that's why they miss him.
He lost me on that one. That's why they miss him. When a fight is advised in the corner and the strategy is not working in the fight, and yet the trainer continues to insist, does the boxer then wing it and take his chances or listen to the strategy? It's a bit late, isn't it, in the corner, don't you think? They should have strategy before they got in the ring, right?
Yeah, they got to have a strategy and they got to have a backup strategy if that strategy don't work.
Plan B.
Yeah, they gotta have a plan
That
B.
should be
Gotta have a plan B. You gotta have a plan B. Just in case plan A is not working, you gotta have plan B.
Okay, this is a good one. Campbell Garcia prediction, Uncle, and the problem I have with Luke Campbell, Luke Campbell's one of my favourite fighters, British fighters. The problem I have with Luke Campbell is that he's got glass body. If he gets hit to the body, he goes down. But his chin's not the greatest either. But he has got good boxing ability. If he starts slow and Garcia pounces on him, I think if Garcia can pounce on him, he's got a chance if he pounces him. But if he allows Campbell to get into a rhythm, forget it. He's getting Garcia out of there.
I think Garcia.
What do you think?
I think Garcia is going to win the fight. I think Garcia is going to.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I just think that. I just think Garcia's going to jump on Campbell. Slow.
Don't mistake me. Luke Campbell is a good fighter. All right.
I think he jumps on Campbell.
But I think Garcia is just Garcia.
I think you got there. All guns blazing.
It's Garcia's. It's just Garcia's time.
Come on, Uncle. Garcia's not that good. He boxes with his chin in the air like he's got like a giraffe. But I guess under Reynoso, they might improve. Maybe see how much muscle he's put on now. Right.
Yeah.
You see? Seeing how he's changed from what he was to what he is now. Like he looked like he was anorexic before. Now he looks like he's the Incredible Hulk.
I think Garcia.
I think
mentality plays a big role in how these guys are fighting. And I think that Garcia.
Yeah, well, Uncle, mentality is one thing. Listen, either that's Photoshop.
I think Garcia.
Or his body.
I think Garcia is still in the Cheerios. I think he wins the fight. Luke Campbell's a good fighter. He's a good fighter.
Yeah, Uncle.
And he hurt Lomachenko.
Yeah, but he was signing autographs to Lomachenko. He hurt him. He went, "Sorry, Lomo, I hurt you there." You signing autographs with Lomachenko. That's why.
But again, he hurt Lomachenko. But in the last round, he was holding on for dear life. He was skating.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because he's trying not to be knocked out. And I think the Teofimo and Lomachenko, I think they need to fight again.
Really? Who wants to see that?
I think there should be a rematch.
Who wants to see that fight? Come on, Uncle. You know I don't want to see that fight.
I want to see a rematch, man.
I just don't want to see a rematch, Uncle. You're just talking. You don't see that fight. Wouldn't you rather see him fight like Devin Haney instead?
Wait a minute.
What does Uncle advise about young fighters, boxers coming to the gym that are southpaw? Does Uncle have them go orthodox or keep them as they are and train them as it is?
I think when I came to a gym, I came in southpaw. I was a street fighter, and they turned me around, and I was pretty comfortable with it.
Oscar De La Hoya was originally a southpaw, and they turned him into orthodox fighter, so I understand.
Yeah, Maurice Harris is a southpaw, and they turned him into an orthodox fighter.
I don't know. We might skip this question, but we'll go anyway. What does Bashir think of Mike Tyson's prime doing 1,500 press-ups a day with a 20-pound weight?
I can't answer something like that, there, but I would have my boxers to do it. I didn't
think you think much of that question. Go on. Also, the 23-year-old prospect 6-0 who's fighting Kovalev in January, Betika Metalukiv. Thoughts?
I don't know that much about him to answer that question. I don't know. In fact, I don't know anything about him.
6-0.
In fact, I didn't know Kovalev was still fighting.
I heard a story that Kovalev was going to try and fight for the cruiserweight title. That might be interesting.
What?
Kovalev at cruiserweight.
Yeah, well, I guess he's going to try to squeeze boxing for what's left, but I don't see what he's going to do at cruiserweight that he couldn't do at light heavy.
Has Uncle Bashir ever seen a young man like he was, young, hungry man who wanted to be a trainer back in the day?
What was the question?
Has James Edward Bashir ever seen a young man like he was, young, hungry man who wanted to... So basically, we've seen a young you. back in the.
No, I haven't seen no one like that in all of my years. I haven't seen no one.
I
Know
guess
why?
it's because the era you came from.
I put everything on the line to be a boxing trainer.
Yeah, but Uncle, it's the era you came from, though. The era you came from.
No, it's just that I rolled the dice. I took listen. I took a great chance. I missed weddings, funerals.
That's the point.
Birthdays.
Yeah, but that's
I even walked away from the job market to be a boxer.
That's the same reason.
I was fortunate. I was fortunate to be able to go around the world doing this here and be successful at it. But I wouldn't suggest nobody do that.
Yeah, but that's the reason why fighters and their sons, so like fighters who are world champions, and then they have sons. The fighters themselves, the fathers, they make those sacrifices so that their younguns don't have to make those sacrifices. And that's why I think that the young fighters are not as good as the sons, are never as good as the fathers, because the fathers were the one who made the initial sacrifice. That's what I think.
Yes,
What do you mean?
it's very costly. When I look back on my relationship with my sons and with my daughters, I don't know to this day whether I made the right decision to do that, because I missed too much. Graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays. I just missed. I mean, days at the park and stuff. It's just so much to ask, and it take a lot away from your life. So I don't know now, looking back, whether I did the right thing, whether I made the right decision. But they, as adults, they look at me and say, "That's just my father. My father loves boxing.
Yeah.
That's just my father." But still, looking back as a father, I don't know whether I made the right decision. And sometimes it frightens me in my heart that, damn, I said, damn, what do they think? What do my children think? So I try to do as much as I can for my grandchildren.
When that passion drives you inside of you, and you can't sleepless nights, nobody understands that passion of when you want to go for something so much that you see nothing else but that vision, that big vision. You go for it. And, sometimes there's a sacrifice that comes before it. And can't even imagine what you were going through for that, Uncle. Particularly at that time of your, in the 50s and the 60s. That I wouldn't even want to. I'm glad I'm in this era. So glad. I wouldn't even want to, I mean, just going to certain places and seeing no blacks, no Irish, particularly no blacks, having to go into different buildings because you're black or different color, blatantly separated. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Man, we would go places and do things, and we was like oblivious of to what we was in. We'd be in danger, and we wouldn't even know it because we were so busy having fun. We were so busy having fun, we would be in danger. Being in segregated areas and stuff. But it was like fun for us. We could run like gazelles. And it was just we just run. And now
that's a conversation in itself, Uncle.
And now I look back on it and I said, man, what was we thinking? I remember one time we went to a swim meet, and we beat everybody there. We was project kids. We didn't have nothing, but we could swim. Front stroke, back stroke, side stroke. We beat them doing everything, diving, everything. And they were angry. Wow. They were angry. Oh, man. We left there with all the trophies and stuff. They said, you black. But it was fun for us. Now looking back, I said, man, we was in danger.
Danger.
Yeah. But for us, it was fun. But not now. I wouldn't do it now. Hell no.
Question, Uncle? Would Sergey Kovalev carry his power up to cruiserweight? Would be the question. I don't know how much.
It's a good bet. I mean, how tall is he?
I think he carried him.
How tall is he?
So there's about 6 foot. And I would think to myself that Sergey
Yeah, you can
Kovalev
carry.
also,
Yeah, you can carry.
he sat down to make light heavy. So I think he'd do well at cruiserweight, punching power wise.
Yeah, he's 6 feet. He belongs there. You know, he belongs there.
He'd have to select those fights, though. He'd have to be very selective who he fights.
Yeah, because they got some good punches. That cruiserweight division, like I said, might be the hardest punches pound for pound in boxing. The cruiserweight
But he
division.
might have a better chin. He might have a better chin at cruiserweight because obviously he's not draining as much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because I know he wasn't the greatest lever outside the
Let me
ring.
tell you
And
something.
look,
Look, the bridgerweight, that's going to be something. That's
yeah.
going to be big. That bridgerweight is going to be something. That's going to be something, that bridgerweight. Those guys, because the cruiserweights and the bridgerweights is bordering on the same thing. So it's going to be a lot of banging going on in
Well,
that.
basically, it's like the heavyweight and the super heavyweight division. So then the heavyweight division becomes a super heavyweight division, and that becomes the heavyweight division, the bridgerweight.
The bridgerweight is what they calling it. Bridgerweight, I think that's between 218 and 224.
Yeah, so that's the old heavyweight division.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everyone's moved up to the super heavyweight division. Indirectly, without saying it. It's the super heavyweight division.
For me, it's exciting, you know? The cruiserweight and the bridgeweight combining together, because that's what it's going to boil down to. Cruiserweight is
And then
200.
you have the bridgerweight champion moving against the heavyweight champion of the world, the super heavyweight champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll ask you a better question then. When Bashir had Ingram on the pads, did he hit like a girl? Be honest, Ali.
No.
Full disclosure.
No.
Full disclosure.
No, he punched pretty hard. He punched pretty hard. Not the hardest I felt, but he punched me like a man. He punched like a man. He said, tell the truth. He said, tell the truth. Did he punch like a little bitch? No. That was funny. Funny question.
One of my greatest fans. There we go. All passions have sacrifice. I never went to the gym one day to train a boxer and did not want to be there. That's the difference between passion and a job. Wow. That's true. That's very true. Very true.
Yeah, I started as a young man. When I found out I couldn't be a boxer, I said that I'm gonna learn how to train boxers.
Yeah.
You know, when I said that I can't be a boxer, that I'm gonna learn how to teach boxers. And I got in there and I got into the old trainers and I asked questions all of the time.
Yeah.
I trained them. I stayed in. I learned.
Uncle, we've done an almost 3-hour show. It's probably our longest show ever.
Yeah, it's all right. We call it off at when we get to the 3 hour mark, then we'll stop. But
cool. All right. So then, in that case, then let's talk about.
I'm glad that the people here, the fans are here.
Absolutely, definitely.
It makes it interesting.
It does. What is Uncle Bashir's list of greatest light heavyweights of history?
Oh man, I don't know where to begin. Don't ask me that. No, man. It's some Archie Moore's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Khan.
What, Muhammad Kawi?
Billy Khan, Kawi, Saad Muhammad, Eddie Muhammad.
Spinks.
It's Ezra Charles, Jimmy Ellis. Oh man, the list goes on and on and on and on, and probably somebody I didn't even mention.
Michael Spinks.
Mike Spinks, but even before that, I'm going back to the 50s and 60s. There was some good light heavyweights. Harold out of Philadelphia. It was some good light heavyweights out there, man. Good light heavyweights. Archie Moore definitely was one. So I can't even begin. I had to be alone and sit down and look up those light
Right.
heavyweights.
Where do you put Michael Moorer on all this? Because Michael Moorer was knocking cats out left, right, and center. He was knocking everybody out, Michael Moorer.
Michael Moore break your neck if you land.
Michael Moorer is knocking everybody out. I mean, it's incredible. He was. I mean, he was knocking everybody out. Boom, 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 boom.
Michael Moore and Michael Spinks, they skipped right over the cruiserweights and went right to heavyweight. They skipped right
and then
over.
he went up to heavyweight. Look,
huh?
The one fight I remember Michael Moorer, him knocking out Mike the Giant White, 7 foot tall, weighed him about 40, 50 pounds.
But Mike White was a cream puff. He's a big giant, but man, he hit that guy on the chin and couldn't. It was like timber, timber.
Yeah, but look how small Moorer was compared to how big Mike the Giant White was.
Yeah, Michael Moorer could punch, man. He can hurt you, man.
He's punching from light heavyweight right up.
Yeah, did you see Michael Moorer and Burt Cooper fight?
Oh, I love that fight. Love that fight. Cooper dropped him. He got up and he dropped Cooper.
He dropped Michael Moorer again. He dropped Michael Moorer. That was a great fight.
Great fight. Great fight.
Sort of like Ron Lau and George Foreman.
Yeah. Great fight.
Because Cooper dropped Moore dropped Cooper, Cooper dropped Moore dropped Cooper, and then dropped him again.
Yep. Yes.
So that's sort of like Ron Lau and George Foreman.
Yeah.
Man, that takes some kind of courage to get up from that kind of those was bombs they was hitting each other with. There was bombs.
How many in terms of knockdowns? When you talk about knockdowns, it only went one way. Herbie Hyde when he fought Riddick Bowe. How many times did Riddick Bowe knock Herbie Hyde down in that fight? 4, 5 times, was it?
Yeah, Herbie Hyde.
And Herbie kept getting back up.
I remember I had Jonathan Banks boxing Herbie Hyde in Las Vegas. And after the 3rd round, I pulled Jonathan out because Herbie Hyde was doing all kinds of stuff. He's using elbows and headbutting. I said, no, man. I told Jonathan, come on out of here, man. You got to be here. But no. I thought that Jonathan was going to get injured boxing Herbie. And Herbie Hyde was a tremendous puncher.
It'd be interesting seeing you train Herbie Hyde. Could you imagine that?
But Herbie was a little crazy, too. He's a little crazy.
But you need that little bit of crazy, don't you? A little bit of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I can train Herbie Hyde. He's a little too busy for me. Herbie Hyde's a little too busy.
Herbie and Michael Bent. You remember that?
Yeah.
The scuffle they had.
Yeah.
And I was meant to ask you, what did you think of Michael Bent fasting and taking that fight with Herbie Hyde? And suppose he was fasting while he had that fight with Hyde. I mean, I didn't know how that was.
Well, I mean, that's somebody else's opinion, but I wouldn't have a boxer to be fasting and going to a fight. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, it's somebody else's opinion. But if I was trying to fight, I would tell him not to do that.
I mean, but he put his life at risk for that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have any boxer to
a biography, Uncle. I think we were talking about that before, weren't we?
Yeah,
when I was back in Ireland.
I'd like to do it. I'd like to do a biography. I really would. Because I see people who leave here who don't, and I got a story to tell. Man, I got a story to tell. All the stuff that I've been through in this boxing, I got a story to tell. I've seen it all, I've seen it all. And just seemed like yesterday I started. And now it's 51 years later, I mean, I see young men that I trained as amateurs, who are in their 40s now.
And they've got books out.
Huh?
And they've got books out.
Yeah. I look now and I say, wow, all of these years, I see young men that I trained as amateurs who's grown up, who's got families and stuff, and I say, wow, it's amazing.
Wow.
You know.
Okay, let's see here. A few more questions here. This video gets better by the minute. Yeah, I think Uncle coming back was a great thing. Listen here. What made the Philadelphia School of Boxing so legendary? What was their secret? That's a good question, actually.
It's Philadelphia. Philadelphia. I mean, they have a legacy that goes far, 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 far back. You know, there are stories that have not even been told about the Philadelphia art of boxing. You know, for that fact, you can go to New York too. You get that. I mean, anywhere that there were ghettos in America, you can get some good gyms, some good fights. But Philadelphia has got to be on the top of the list.
Do you know, while you're at it, I think maybe we should do an evening dedicated to like boxing gyms and trainers, or particularly boxing gyms, like the famous gyms like the Gleason's gym, the Wild Card, the different gyms around the world, around in America. That'd be good. That'd be interesting because you
Yeah,
would know a lot of the gyms.
yeah. I've been to a lot of those gyms, and man, there were some tough gyms, and all of those trainers that are gone now. You know, I look back on all of those trainers, but the trainers of yesteryear, and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, those trainers were not like the trainers today. The trainers today are more egotistic, more egotistic, and they with the fancy pad work and the fancy this and the fancy that. Yesteryear wasn't like that. Those guys were cordial. They respected each other. They could work together. But this
Yeah.
is you can't do that now. You can't. It's hard to do that now. These
One
guys,
final question.
I know guys
Mhm.
where I'm thinking back. It was Tommy Parks was in the hospital having a lung operation, and he
Mhm.
called in another trainer, Lee Blackman, to train.
Mhm.
No. A lightweight, Livingston Bramble, and
American
Bobby,
or US?
huh?
UK? Livingston Brown. It's American, right?
Livingston Bramble was in America. He was a
Yeah, I can remember
Jamaican.
Livingston Brown.
He was a Jamaican fighter, but he was in
Yeah, yeah,
America. And
yeah.
Tommy Parks was the trainer for him. And Tommy Parks was having a lung operation.
Right.
And he called in Lee Black to train Livingston Bramble. And when Tommy got out the hospital, he resumed as Livingston Bramble's trainer. And Lee just did the job. But can you imagine sending somebody
Today,
in to train your fighter now?
he's stealing, take him away,
Yeah, of course.
claiming his
He
own.
he put all kinds of things in the guys' ear. It's very hard to find people who are respectful enough to do something like that. That's how the old trainers operated. I was
Yeah,
I was privy to working with those guys, Lee
yeah,
Black and Tommy Parks. I was privy to working with them. Not one fight, not two fights, 4, 5, 6 fights. You know,
yeah.
I was privy working with those people, and those guys. That's the kind of people. But nowadays, you can't do that. And the fact that Tommy trusted Lee knowledge enough to send him in to do the job. But I would never get no sleep trying to think about who I could send in to train a boxer now. Because they come in adding all this BS. It's BS, you know? So it's only a few guys around today that I can say that can go in and train the fighters.
Okay.
You know? For the most part, you can't get nobody to do that. They won't do it. They're gonna add their 2 cents in. They don't have the knowledge, and you get the fighter screwed up when you get them back.
Okay, Uncle, we've hit the 3 hour mark. So,
All right, go to sleep, man.
I gotta say, man,
What time is it, man? I mean, it's got to be 2 o'clock in the morning, right?
2:24 in the morning, Uncle.
Oh my God, man! What time? Oh man, you got to go to bed, man.
No, it's special. I mean, we did something special. Lockdown we've got in the UK here at the moment,
Yeah.
so something special. And end of year as well. Fantastic. Need to come
Yeah.
back and do some more.
Yes.
Uncle.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. And to all the fans that's out there, have a good night, a good morning. All y'all up.
Question before you finish. Do you are you available faster on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter? And I've opened that Facebook page up for yours as well.
I'm. You can call me anywhere. Where you want me to be?
Not you. I'm talking about when people want to talk to you, Uncle. Contact you.
Instagram. You can Instagram me. Precision Craft Bash at Instagram, or you can call me Facebook. But I think it's Instagram is
Fantastic.
better.
Great. All right, Uncle.
And
Great.
WhatsApp is good too.
Okay, but I have to have your number to WhatsApp you, Uncle.
You don't have it?
I have your number. I'm talking about people who are listening, Uncle.
Okay, all right. Whatever.
All right. So they can Instagram and Facebook. You need to go sleep, Uncle.
Come on, get your house ready, and I'm coming to London. We're gonna do some work.
I don't know what London you're coming to. I think we're on lockdown at the moment, so you have to come after lockdown.
Yeah,
we're on lockdown.
That's Great Britain. Oh, it's Great Britain. The claw, the UK claw.
Yeah, we've got the new strain, haven't we?
All right, have a good night.
Okay, good night. There you have it with Uncle James Alibashir. I hope you've enjoyed this 3-hour special with James Alibashir. And if you didn't catch it earlier on, check out our 2-hour special with Gail Falkenthal from Digital Communities, the boxing journalist who's also on TMZ and works in PR. Thank you so much. Big night on BWTM Sports. Hope you've enjoyed it all. And we'll be back with a bit more before the end of the year. Take care and good night.